92nd round of EV Gaming's Losers Bracket podcast, and we've got the MLG National Finals this coming weekend. I am absolutely stoked. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend. I'll be watching from home, but the entire VV Gaming family is going to be out there, and we have a ton of special guests tonight that are all going to be out there competing as well. We got Flamesword, Halo player. We've got Rambo, Call of Duty. We got ThisIsJimmy from Starcraft, VVV Titan. Of course, we're joined by our normal co-hosts as well, Kurt from Check 6. We've got Asylum. We have Jerry, Lord Jareth. It's going to be an epic losers bracket tonight. Thank you all for joining us as usual, and I'm stoked. It's a great weekend for eSports upcoming. I want to know how you guys are doing before we get started. Asylum, let's start out with you, buddy. How are you doing tonight, man?
Doing great. Thank you again for having me on. It's been a busy week. We got a lot of stuff in the works, getting ready for Providence and all that fun stuff, so I'm doing good. How you doing, Kurt? Is Kurt not there?
Look at Kurt. Look at Kurt. Like, look at him. He's not prepared. He is not prepared at all. But Jerry, on the other hand, I bet Jerry's prepared.
You notice I let him drown? I wasn't even going to say a word. He got busy. Kurt has some internal thing he's dealing with. So,
no.
It's true. It's true. I can't speak about it, but I'm hoping he'll have enough information that we can get to the bottom of what could be a bit of an esports problem. But we won't go start there yet. We have a packed show tonight. I'm just going to tell you, we've got every division at the MLG Nationals represented, as Jason already mentioned. And it looks like we're going to have a special guest this evening. The man himself, Sundance, the CEO of Major League Gaming, is going to make a last-minute guest appearance. So
nice.
We've sort of lit the fireplace. I've poured the vodka. I'm going to relax, and we'll probably talk a little bit of esports and all things MLG coming up later. So, Jason, let's get started.
Yeah, man. I don't even know where to begin with how much we've got going on. There's so much. Like, did you hear about this, Jerry? That the mayor of Providence actually has declared Friday to be Major League Gaming Day in Providence, Rhode Island?
See, I just got, for those of you who don't know, I've had a busy day. VV Gaming's getting ready to launch our new website, all kinds of news coverage, really cool stuff like that. We wanted to get it out right before Providence, but there's still, you know how it is, you don't want to release the thing. So I have been knee-deep with some of the staff on that. No. So tell me, and that's really good news, actually. So tell me, Jason, what's the details of this?
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So the mayor of Providence is actually naming Friday Major League Gaming Day in Providence, Rhode Island. MLG, of course, was very humble about it, said thank you for the incredible honor. And in return, they're going to do in honor of MLG. One of the New England Patriots players, running back, his name is Stephen Ridley, will be joining them to actually play alongside. This is one of the coolest things I think I've heard in esports to date. A 9-year-old kid named Austin, who's actually coming to the event to play with his favorite pros as a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. To me, that's just breathtaking. What a stunning story. I don't want to know what you guys think. You know, Kurt, I wonder if Kurt's even back yet. Christian, let's start with you. What do you think about this, buddy?
I think it's a really great move for esports, actually. MLG Day. I mean, come on. That's like every nerd's nightmare, or not nightmare, every nerd's dream to have a day named after you. I mean, come on. It's MLG Day. Let's do it up.
And on top of that, I mean, it is great that, and I think it's actually very telling, right? I mean, we've arrived at a point, you know, it's a bittersweet in a way. For those who don't know, the Make-A-Wish Foundation is a foundation dedicated to giving children who have terminal illnesses a final wish, and arriving at a point where a child with a terminal illness's final wish is to play with an MLG Pro player. I think that should all give us pause for a moment. I mean, that tells us something. That tells us about the culture of gaming. It tells us about where we are. And I think it's you know, is it breathtaking? I think that might be a good word. It definitely can, I think, pull on the heartstrings and definitely make someone emotional. That means somebody out there who's young says, you know, my final wish is to play with an MLG Pro player. I don't think I need to say anything else about that. I think that speaks volumes for itself. So I think it's just beyond words awesome.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And speaking of awesome as well, MLG just announced that they are now partnering up with SteelSeries which is, I think, also huge news for esports. They've announced that they're going to be developing an entirely new line of keyboards, mice, and peripherals designed with gamers in mind, and they will be introduced during the 2012 Pro Circuit season. I, for one, am pretty stoked about this. SteelSeries has been a long been a sponsor of VV Gaming, and we've worked with them very closely. They've developed some amazing products, and I can't wait to see what they have in mind. Christian, what's been your experiences with SteelSeries products, my friend? Are you excited about this?
Dude, SteelSeries is an amazing company, of course, and I'm not saying that just because VVV is sponsored through them. I use one of their headsets. I use the 4H right now, and I've been nothing but pleased with SteelSeries products, and the fact that they're actually going forth and doing this is amazing. Not just for gamers, but not just the hardcore gamers, but the casual gamers too. They're going to have products that are meant and designed specifically for them, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I was not to cut you off and say that, I know exactly what they're going to do. I can't talk about it, but I will tell you all this. What SteelSeries has planned to do with Major League Gaming is going to take our experience of ordering a keyboard and customizing it to a new level. And I think once this unveils in 2012, I'm so honored to be sponsored by SteelSeries. And for those of you who don't know Kim Ram, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of SteelSeries, Kim originally is from Denmark. We got a couple of video interviews with him on our website. Kim is just has a passion. And we had one of those conversations where we were brainstorming and at MLG Raleigh. And then when we went out to lunch, he pitched this idea. And where we started to where he goes is a reflection of how creative he is. And I think everyone's going to be excited. So this partnership does change a lot of things. And a lot of gamers out there who are not already sponsored by a competitor, I think are going to be really excited with what SteelSeries is going to do and how it benefits what Major League Gaming is doing. So I think that's fantastic news. It's a great way coming out to the end of the season and already gives us something to look forward to for the 2012 season. So all of that is just excellent news.
I agree 100%. Additionally, speaking of new products that are going to be available soon in regards to the MLG Pro Circuit, the new Mad Catz controller is going to be available for pre-order right now. And when you're in Providence, you should definitely go check that out if you have not had the chance to get your hands on one of these controllers. I had the chance to play with it in Raleigh, and it was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Additionally, one other thing that is going to be a little bit new in Providence, there actually is going to be an Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception tournament there, which I think is really interesting. I mean, MLG's been streaming it pretty consistently, and now they are going to have a little side event for spectators to go participate in this weekend. Will this mean that we're going to see the title possibly make an appearance next year? I think that that's still yet to be determined, but I think it's rather interesting that MLG is putting so much into this title. The prizes, no real cash to be spoken of here, but the first place team is going to receive 4 signed copies of the game, 4 signed posters, and 4 MLG Gold memberships. The second place team is going to also receive 4 Gold memberships. So pretty cool. If you're out in Providence, I would definitely check it out. Do you guys think that Uncharted 3 might make an appearance next year on the circuit? What are your thoughts?
No, I hope not.
You hope not?
And there we go, speaking at the same time. Kurt, why don't you take it?
I don't know enough about the game.
I'm going to say, what the hell does Kurt know about consoles?
I'm going to say I don't know enough about the game to make a educated decision. No, so no, I'm going to pass on it. Sorry.
I do own Uncharted 3. I have played multiplayer, believe it or not, very briefly. I don't see it as a competitive title, but, and this is really, forgive me, especially as we're going to have Call of Duty guests tonight, I have a feeling there are a lot of PlayStation 3s that don't get a lot of use at MLG events, and you need to do something with them. And doing an Uncharted 3 tournament is probably not too shabby of an idea. However, there is a small little fan base for the game. Not on game battles. I'm not seeing anything like that. If you go to the GV page, you're not going to see a lot of things. But there are a lot of people who, I'll at least say, find it fun. But I think it's important for Major League Gaming to have these one-off events, these little side events that keep people something to do in between matches or in between them following their favorite players, if that's what they're there for. So it sounds like a good idea. PlayStation 3 makes good sense because I know they have plenty of space. So, all good.
One last thing of note before we hop into our guests. If you are going to be heading to Providence and you would like to pick up a spectator pass, there actually is something going on in Providence. If you stop by any Shell gas station in or around Providence, you'll get a free spectator pass for MLG if you buy any NOS energy drink. So if you need to get a spectator pass, still haven't bought yours, definitely stop into a Shell station, support MLG by purchasing a NOS, and then get your free spectator pass in return. With that being said, I think we should hop into these guests because, man, we've got a ton of content to go through tonight. Jerry, what do you want to start with? Let's do some COD or some Halo first. Which shooter should we attend to first? Your choice.
We're going to take it in alphabetical order, and I was just picking on Call of Duty, so why don't we start with Call of Duty?
Let's do that. Tonight we're joined by Rambo. He actually is a member of Icons Extravagant, formerly from Optic Gaming. Rambo, what's going on, my man? Welcome to the show. It's your first time on, so we definitely want to learn a little bit about you. Tell us who is Rambo, and welcome to Losers Bracket, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. So, my name is Raymond Lucier. I originate from Montreal, Quebec. I am a Frenchie, so my English is not perfect. So yeah, I've been playing video games for quite a long time now. I've only started competing MLG about 3 years ago on the online circuit. Started with Call of Duty 4. And I've won a few times since the start, and here I am now, going into nationals with the fourth seed in my team. Hopefully, we can come out with a good placing and hopefully win.
Rambo, I want to jump right in, and this has been an interesting season for Call of Duty with a lot of teams making some changes near the end. Right now, who do you see? And I always ask players, take your own team out of it, because I know you are focused on winning. You see yourself going to number one. Take yourself out of the equation for a minute. Give me the two toughest teams you see right now that have a shot at winning the whole thing.
Well, it's quite obvious. Optic has been a strong team all season long, and they just won last event pretty convincingly. I don't think they lost the game the entire event. So, I mean, that's pretty hard to not encounter for a winning position. And you'll also have to go with Envious here because they're probably like the only team who's actually been practicing really daily since Orlando. So obviously practice helps a lot, especially when everyone else is not getting the amount of time in. And
I was going to ask real quick, Rambo, why do you say that? I mean, just from knowing, are a lot of players moving to Modern Warfare 3? Is it?
Well, I think it's just to the point where like it's always like that every season. And when there's a new Call of Duty about to come out, everyone seems to get bored of the old one. And it's like obviously you want to practice to win an event. But then, like, a new game comes out, and obviously with the Modern Warfare 3 coming out, a lot of people kind of, like, switch to that and play that, like, a bit too much, if you ask me. But, I mean, obviously it's hard to, like, stay focused on a game that you don't necessarily enjoy that much. So, I mean, some people just kind of, like, left a bit of the dedication. I mean, I'm not really involved in the other team, so I don't know what's their reason to it. But, I mean, I know with my team, a bit of dedication problems were we encountered towards the end here. But, I mean, practicing Call of Duty, like obviously everyone knows, like it's a pretty easy shooter in general. So I mean, it's really who plays the best on the day of the event. So I don't think practice is going to matter that much, but it still makes somewhat of a difference.
What do you see as your own team's challenges coming into the event? You mentioned right there that you guys could probably benefit from a little more practice. Do you have any other concerns?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, my only concern is who we're playing. We're like a pretty fast-paced run-around team, and we're fourth seed, and Envious is fifth seed, and Envious is a really slow play-style team. Is who we're most likely going to play in our first match for top 6. So I think it's going to be a really hard bump right there, and especially with them practicing a lot, they're probably going to be a hard team to beat. But who knows? Like I said, it's whoever plays best on the day is whoever comes out on top.
Let's look to the future, since some teams already are, and let's talk about Modern Warfare 3, because a lot of players who love Call of Duty and may not have done that well this season. Everyone's really uncertain, wondering what's going to happen. But pro players tend to get a little bit more information than the rest of everybody else. What have you heard, and what do you think about 2012? Will there be Call of Duty coming back? Will it be on the PlayStation 3? And if you don't have anything, what would you bet on if you're a betting man?
Well, to be completely honest with you guys, I have absolutely no information on what's going to happen next year. The only talk I've heard were some some people that were involved. I mean, someone involved. They were saying that Call of Duty was going to be back, but they really what title it's going to be on what console it's going to be is completely unknown at this point. At least from what I know. As far as Modern Warfare 3 going on the circuit, the problem with Modern Warfare 3 is there's a lot of problems with the LAN again, and the game itself is somewhat broken. There's a lot of patches they would have to make that the producers of the game would have to make, and in the past, Infinity Ward has not been too kind to us with those. So, right now, if no changes were made in Modern Warfare 3, it wouldn't be playable on the LAN. So that would be a problem. So you would probably have to go with Black Ops. And as far as the console, I really have no idea, to be honest. I'm guessing PS3 since they're already with it, but who knows?
Let's talk about some of the players that really stood out last event and who people are going to really be watching closely this event. I want you to start with your pick for probably the strongest Slayer, the person who really racks up the most kills. If there's a player people should watch, who should that be? Who would that be?
If I go with Orlando, he had his best event all season because I was playing JCap. I was playing with JCap all season long, except for the last two events, for the last event actually. And JCap definitely had his best last event from what I was watching, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with whenever he's on. So if he's having the same type of event he was having in Orlando, he's probably the player to watch. He just does everything for a team, and he's incredibly good.
Let's talk a little bit about Optic Gaming, since you mentioned them as probably the team to beat in a way coming into the Nationals. At the beginning of the year, it was Leverage, and a lot of people thought they were going to go far, and that just didn't really hold out, and now it looks like Optic Gaming is in a strong position. What does Optic Gaming do, in your opinion, that makes them... looking at Orlando, like you said, they did really pretty much make a very definitive statement about their ability to win. What do you think Optic Gaming does so well that other teams will definitely have to improve to be ready for facing them come Providence?
I think it's really the fact that the four players are willing to do everything it takes to win, and they're not just they're all selfless. They'll all push to certain areas that need to be pushed, and they know when to recognize a situation where you have to slay or when you have to push for an objective. They're all individually smart players that are not based on slayers and roles. Every player on the team is completely every role in the game, and that's what makes them so strong and so consistent. And that's pretty much how it's been all year long.
One last question for me, and then I'll turn it over to you, Jason. Something that has always interested me about Modern Warfare, and obviously Black Ops now coming to Modern Warfare 3, there's always been a struggle with getting viewership and really tweaking settings that both pro players love and viewers will come watch. Let's face facts. Call of Duty is the most prevalent first-person shooter title in the world. There is more Call of Duty sold than any other game out there. What is the struggle with getting viewership? Do you think the game can't be spectated? Do you think the people who play it don't care to watch it? And I know you don't have the answers. I don't think anybody does. But I'd like to get your opinion. Why does Call of Duty struggle engaging its audience, do you think?
Well, obviously this is my personal opinion, and obviously it's debatable for everyone, but in my opinion, it's not really our fault in general as competitors and people out there. If you look at the YouTube community for Call of Duty, it's absolutely humongous. There's some of the guys out there have 500,000 subscribers for one person. It's not an organization; it's one person that has that big of a following, and it seems like the Call of Duty following is more based off personality and not actual gameplay. Because if you look at a game I'll compare Starcraft since it's probably the easiest. The best thing about Starcraft, in my opinion, is to recognize how hard it is. It's easy to differ an amateur from a pro player because of how hard it is to play the game in general. It's a really hard game to grasp, and it takes a long time to master everything from the game. But if you look at a Call of Duty game, a casual player will look at a pro player play the game, and he's not getting flashy kill streaks. He's not getting long amount of kills. He's pretty much killing two guys and dying, and they don't understand how much these two kills that the player did changed the factor of the game and how hard it is because they don't really get to play in that environment. So, obviously, it would, in my opinion, the way to fix it is to have people that commentate the game that can make people understand how big it is to get those kills and make them understand the difference. Maybe not necessarily commentators, but maybe just people in general, making them understand of how like different it is from a public match to a competitive match. I think that's the biggest problem right now, is that everyone plays this game on a casual level and they don't understand how hard it is at a competitive level to outsmart an opponent and to move as a team and play as a team in general.
Rambo, I think you mentioned two things that I've always agreed with. And I think the foundation to that is the quality of the casting. With Gears of War 3 coming on the Pro Circuit next year, I harp on the Gears of War community. You need to find your Day 9. You need to find that person who can do for Gears of War what Day 9 and people like him, like DJ Wheat, do for StarCraft. You see with Call of Duty that lacks, and I think you're right, it suffers, because a lot of people don't understand what it's like to play against you or play against a member of Optic Gaming or any of the top teams. That split-second decisions about players who don't hesitate, who are so good at the game that they can make things happen and immediately take advantage of situations. And when you're in a public match, you really don't have that same experience. You think you're doing really good, but you're not really gauging the quality of your competition, which is what I think is part of the problem. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily the commentating in general. It's just like it's how you have to base your commentating in general. It's not just about shoutcasting and calling out certain plays. It's really like trying to make the people understand more about the game and just making them notice that this player could have done that and why he could have done that to make it better. I think it's really the only issue I see in the casting. And in general too, it's really hard for, I think another problem is it's really hard for people to gain interest in a community when there's really like they don't know the players in general. Like I remember for Halo, Flamesword can probably talk about it later, but I remember for Halo back in the day, they used to do so many like interviews and production for the players, putting them out there. And like I remember like they were doing a series of where they would have an interview on paper on the side and it would be up on the main page of just getting to know the players in general. And I think that's a really huge fact. It's really hard to get attached to a community and teams when you don't even know who the players are and what they do outside of the game. Mainly all you're seeing is the gameplay once every 2 months. And I think that's kind of hard for people to get attached to a game like that with those problems, those lack of personality grinding, I guess you can call it.
If you were to pick some people who are personalities that you think do represent the community well, and you say, shows like Live on 3 or MLG has Fuck Slasher on, the Losers Bracket, what are some of those players? Maybe we could do a better job of helping the Call of Duty community by targeting those players and yanking them onto our shows. Who would you pick as some of the people that we definitely should be out there and could be really good spokespersons and are interesting personalities that you think a lot of people would like to meet?
Well, I definitely have to go with Fwiz and Hastro probably as the two really pioneers of our community in general for the entire last season of our online Modern Warfare 2 community. They built up from pretty much nothing to like a really big scenario of our community. I mean, it's not that big compared to like games like Starcraft, I mean, obviously, but I mean, Fwiz and Hastro are definitely the people that been out there and that people, whenever you say Call of Duty competitive, people relate Fwiz and Hastro as the two commentators. Obviously, Hastro is coaching now, so he couldn't commentate, and I'm not sure. Fwiz was there last event for commentate. I'm not sure what was up with that, but I mean, I would definitely go for Fwiz as like the biggest person in our competitive community.
I think everybody would agree with you. I mean, Fwiz works for Machinima now, and I think he's got a lot of responsibilities there that make it not something that he can do consistently. I remember earlier in the year, all eyes were on Fwiz because he is so well known in the community, well spoken. He obviously was a part of the big event that Activision had for Call of Duty out in California. So he clearly, I think, has that skill set and is an amazing spokesperson. But let's talk about the people that are going to be playing at MLG Providence. Who are those players that are playing right now? I mean, look at yourself. You're well-spoken. You were very humble. You came on and said, I'm French-Canadian, and obviously maybe English is not your first language, but I would guarantee that your English is better than many of those who live here in America, so you have nothing to worry about. The only other test that I have for you when it comes to all of this is, are you a Canadiens fan?
Am I a Habs fan?
Yeah, absolutely, sir.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, that gives me big points for you because I'm a longtime Habs fan.
Nice.
Like
We're
way
there.
back. Like I'm part of their history from Scotty Bowman and Ken Dryden to Guy Lafleur. I can go back. I can go back and talk about the Habs.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
Nerd alert! Don't confuse sports with nerds. Relax there, Counter-Strike Joe.
Wait. Nerd alert, Kurt.
Nerd alert! Nerd, dude, you can be a nerd with anything. You can.
Fair enough, Kurt. I agree with you, and I am a bit of a hockey nerd, especially when it comes to the Canadiens. But really, seriously, Rambo, I want to know a little bit more about some of those players, and I want to talk a little bit about you. I know you, and for those of you who don't know, Rambo does have to practice tonight, so we can't spend all night getting to talk to him. But I do want to hear a little bit about some of those players you think and talk a little bit about you, and then I promise we will let you go. So give me one of those two players on the pro circuit, give them a shout out, and let them know they should come on to shows, and they should let the community get to know them better so that you can increase your fan base.
Well, players obviously the player that I've been playing with for about that was the first event. Last event I wasn't playing with him was Big Timer. He's obviously a player that is he has a really good personality. He's a really good guy in general. So I definitely believe he should be hopping on his show. And pretty much all the Optic guys in general, like Merc and Proofy are like so lively personality guys. Like they're definitely players that could definitely help the community get out there since they have like crazy personalities that are like so entertaining to like talk to and be with in general. So I would definitely reach out to those guys. And then you also have the other players that have been here for a while, Stainville, players from like big organizations like NVS and teams like that have obviously been around for a few years now. So I would definitely reach out to those guys if ever you want another good insight on the Call of Duty in general.
What is one interesting thing about you that you think a lot of people don't know and you wish they did know about you as a player?
As a player? I mean, you like in game or just anything in general?
Anything in general.
Well, I mean, English isn't my first language. A lot of people don't know that. Other than that, I mean, I stream pretty much every day. So I mean, I pretty much put everything about myself out there. I'm not insecure about anything about me. So I mean, I can't really on the spot like that. I couldn't really think of anything.
Well, what is your stream? Are you on Twitch TV?
Yeah, it's just Twitch TV/Rambo. Just Rambo. And
so you actually are the Rambo on Twitch TV.
Yep.
That's nice. So everybody out there, Rambo streams, as he says quite often. If you want to get a chance to watch some quality Call of Duty, and if you yourself believe that you are a good Call of Duty player and have deluded yourself into believing that, I highly recommend you go to Rambo's stream and maybe troll him and tell him, invite me, so that they can teach you why you may not be as good as you think you are. I know I said let you go, but I got to let my co-hosts get a chance.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Jason, I'm going to turn it over to you and Kurt and Christian and whoever else wants to go. So.
Sure thing. I actually have, of course, I like to man the chat box during the show and ask the community questions. So I've got two from the chat room that have actually come up. One, what would your preference be for Call of Duty next year? What would you like to see happen console-wise, game-wise, your best scenario? What would you like to see as the Call of Duty competitive scene next year with MLG? And then two, what are your thoughts on Modern Warfare 3 versus Battlefield 3? The chat room would like to know, so please, the floor is yours.
For Call of Duty next year, it's really hard to tell. I mean, obviously Modern Warfare 3 is a new game, and it's a bit fresher. That's one thing that I really like about Modern Warfare 3 and the Infinity Ward series is it seems a lot more viewership, like spectator friendly, where it's a lot more interesting to watch. If you ask me why, I'm not entirely sure why. It may be because of the perk settings and the way the weapons are. There's just more weapons in general. I think that's the big problem with Black Ops is it's really all from FAMAS Wars, and it's pretty redundant to watch. It never really changes. Like there's not many variables to what a player can use in the game. So, but that for you don't really have that problem for Modern Warfare 3, and there seems to be a lot of playable game types as well, new game types on Modern Warfare 3, which would make the game probably more interesting to watch for viewers. As far as the Modern Warfare 3 versus Battlefield 3 battle, I actually got Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 3, and I'm sorry to say, like, Battlefield 3 is a fun game to play, but it was overhyped in my opinion. I mean,
Rambo, I want to go jump in here and say you are so right. To anybody out there who's a Battlefield 3 fan, I got to be honest with you, you are not a competitive gamer. You are generally, before the game came out, Rambo, I was very critical of any game that had the assault class, where they basically said, if you're not that good and you just want to be able to kind of shoot at someone and slow them down, you can actually add value. And then, that to me killed it, because I, as someone who's not good, should not be adding value if we're playing at the highest competitive level. There should be no way for me to contribute as a player, because you want all 4 members of the team to be as accurate, as quick, and more importantly, able to gauge a situation and take those clutch shots in those clutch moments, because you only have that split second. Battlefield does not lend itself to that at all. And what happens is Battlefield players dilute it by thinking they're smarter than everybody else, right? They say, oh, this game takes more brains than Modern Warfare. No, it doesn't. You're lying to yourself. What you are is you're shitty, and you've deluded yourself that the game takes, quote, more brains, because you're probably an older person and you're not very good, and this is your last chance at competing, if we're going to be honest. But Modern Warfare 3 doesn't, Modern Warfare and Black Ops doesn't let anyone sort of get away slacking, and you don't even have to be at the highest levels for that to hold true. So I just want to say, I don't think you're going to get a lot of people to disagree with that. Yeah, it was definitely not a competitive title.
I think it's not really the fact that the class thing. It's just the fact in general that the game is just slow paced. It's not the type of game where you can just start running around, and it's really like more of a tactical, pre-aiming, more type game. I mean, the people that are using the argument that it needs more brains is probably because you have to be more aware of the area you're sitting in with your teammates. I mean, you could probably agree with that to a certain extent, but in general, the game is just. I just don't see that game being played on a competitive level at all. I mean, it's really just hold your L trigger and just walk around and shoot people.
All right, one more question from me, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kurt, because I know that he wants to wrap things up here with us in just a couple minutes. But Jerry earlier had asked you about, teams to watch out for, and he said to exclude yourself. Well, now I'm going to bring your team back into this. I want to know a little bit about your practice regimen, how you feel going into this event, and, what your thoughts are. Where do you think, honestly, don't just say, oh, we're going to win, but honestly, where do you think you guys are going to place? What do you think Providence is going to hold for you?
Well, we haven't been practicing a lot, sadly. I'm not really in the mood to say why, because it's kind of retarded, and obviously I'm not going to comment on that.
Does it involve a woman?
No, it's more frustrating than anything else. It doesn't involve a woman. That's the sad part.
Just checking. Okay. Well, that may not be a good reason either, but keep going.
But it would be a better reason than what it is. All right.
I'll take that. It may be a better reason than what you have. Go ahead.
Obviously, winning would be a good thing, but at this point, I'm just really looking to go out there and just play my own game right now and just concentrate. Have every player on the team play their own game, and I hope things work out at this point, because it's really like, I mean, I've never been the one to be overconfident of an event, but like confidence level, like I don't really showboat my confidence, but I mean, I'd be lying to myself if I was showboating confidence at this point. It's just, it's been really frustrating since Orlando, and at this point, I mean, it's just really, I just want to go there and do my best and with my team, and hopefully something works out. But like I said earlier, Optic Gaming didn't practice much before Orlando, and they came out winning, so it's really who has the best day, and that's what events are at the end of the day. If you have a good day and you're playing well, then you're usually going to come out on top, since everyone's pretty much even on the top 14. So.
Right. Well, hey, that's very humble of you to, come out and tell the truth there. And I have to say, I definitely wish you the best of luck personally, just because you have said that. So we'll be looking to see how you do this weekend at MLG. Kurt, if you want to wrap it up, ask your questions, and then we'll let Rambo get back to practicing, because I know that he wants to do pretty well this weekend. So, Kurt, it's all yours, sir.
All right. What's up, Rambo? How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I can't complain. All right, man. So I got a few questions here. Number one would probably be, looks like we're having Sundance later on the show. I'm not really sure about what, but my question really would be, if you had one thing to say to him, or a few things to say to him, that you might think would increase the popularity of any COD franchise you might have on the circuit next year, what would you think? What would you like to tell him?
Well, I mean, to the point where obviously we need a title that's a lot more spectator friendly. Like Jerry was saying earlier, our game's like really hard to watch to a certain extent, because it's just I mean, there's just a lot of variables and a lot of different things that make the game really hard to watch. It's not only in the game in general, but I think really one thing that I feel like that we're lacking is really player coverage, like I was talking about. It's just getting more in depth with people's personalities. It gives fans and spectators, people that are really into it, more of a chance to get attached to certain players. And then again, that's when they get to talk to the other people about. They talk to their friends. Oh, look at this guy. He's really cool. He likes the Habs like I do. He's French. Oh my God, I'm French. I'm going to start following him, and different things like that. It's just, I think player coverage is one thing that's really needed for a community to grow. It's just the same thing with like any other sport. If you look at hockey or football, they all their own sides have storylines on their players and everything in general that just keep the people coming back. And I think that's just the one thing that we're lacking right now with. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. Starcraft seems to have a lot of coverage because there's a lot of people watching it, but like for Halo and Call of Duty this year, I haven't really seen that much coverage on the players and teams. So I think that's one of the issues.
Yeah, I would agree completely. It sounds like you're a really smart guy. I mean, even in StarCraft, even in their bread and butter, their content on the individual players does, and for that matter, the teams does seem to lack. And I'm not talking about news content or anything like that. I'm just talking about like you said, bringing up some of those stories and some of the the history of the players and stuff like that. So I agree completely.
The human element, and I just want to hop in and say that honestly, Rambo, I told Jason, bring a Call of Duty player on, somebody in the community, and you mentioned Fwiz and Hastro, and I tend to be the sort of person that if I write off a game community, it's done. I'm not known for being nice, or I'm very indifferent about people's opinions in many ways. But they always, even when I was being critical, took it with an air of professionalism. And it always meant, if we can get more people like Castro and Fwiz around, there's still a lot of potential here. Tonight, you made an important first step, Rambo, because I think Jason said it really right. You're honest, you're straightforward. I think those things are really important. And is your team sponsored by anyone?
Yeah, we're sponsored by 360 Icons right now.
And 360 Icons is lucky to have players like yourself who are, well-spoken and I think really good ambassadors for the game, and most importantly, honest. I think a lot of players go to an event, they see pro players play, and they never realize that being on a team, no matter what level you are, comes with all kinds of challenges and struggles. That even your team, even before an event, you have a lot of challenges that affect your own confidence level going into an event, even though you are some of the top players.
Yeah, for sure. There's obviously a lot of variables, and obviously everyone has their lives to live, and I think that's probably the biggest difference of I think a StarCraft competitive level and other games right now is the fact that a lot of the top StarCraft players play StarCraft all day, and a lot of since the Halo and Call of Duty community is fairly more young, there's a lot of players still in school that have to work in the weekends and stuff like that. So they don't necessarily to keep a perfect gaming schedule like different competitors. And at the end of the day, that does make a difference in the quality of the playing. So hopefully that changes in a few years from now.
Well, Rambo, I hope that MLG Providence, you will come up and find somebody in a VVV shirt and ask for me, Lord Jareth, because I'd love to meet you in person. I'll be there, as will many people from VVV Gaming. So I want to wish you the best of luck in the next few days, at least getting as much practice as you can. And I definitely will be keeping an eye and wishing your team the best.
All right, thank you very much, for sure.
Hey, before you go, Rambo, do you have any last shout-outs, man? Shout-outs to 360 Icons or...
Oh, yeah, for sure. 360 Icons, Ego's a really cool guy, one of the most straightforward persons I've met, and he's always around, and he's always trying to help the community out and everything, even if it involves other people coming in, and he's just a really nice guy in general. And obviously, shout-out to my team, even though, some of you have been pissing me off lately. Hopefully we can do well this weekend. And obviously, a shout-out to my Twitter, and it's MLG_Rambo, and my personal stream, Rambo, just on Twitch TV/Rambo. If you want to come watch, I stream pretty much daily. Not only Call of Duty, just a bunch of games in general. I try to be good at StarCraft, but that usually fails.
Rambo, it is really a pleasure to have you on. I think we're definitely going to be one of those people we're going to have in our index that we hope to call back. So hopefully we've treated you well, and hopefully you'll consider maybe coming back after MLG Providence and giving us a roundup of what you thought of the national finals.
All right, for sure. And thanks for having me, guys.
All right, have a good night, Rambo.
Yeah.
That was a really great interview, and I know he has to run now because he's going to go practice, but really glad that Rambo could join us tonight. He was quite honest. That was rather refreshing from the COD community, so thank you once again to him, and let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into our next guest. We've got Flamesword joining us tonight from Halo. You might know him if you've watched Status Quo on stage. You know, they had a great start to their season this year, and we want to hear what they have in preparation for Providence this weekend. So, Mike, Flamesword, welcome to the show. Love to have you. So, for those that don't know who you are, please let us know. Who is Flamesword? The community's listening.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, first of all. My name is Mike. I'm Michael Chavez. Go as Flamesword in the gaming community. Been playing pretty much video games since I was a kid. Got really into the competitive scene my junior year in high school when I stopped playing basketball. And then ever since then, I've just been gaming and working my way to the top, and it's been going amazing for me out here in this community.
Well, we are really glad to have you. If memory serves me correctly, you started this season out with Status Quo with a win. And then things have kind of gotten a little bit crazy since then. We had the rise of Instinct and, the downfall of their team from the winning position over the last couple of events. Going into this event, tell us, how has Status Quo been doing as a team? And what does the Halo landscape look like right now? What do you think are the teams to look out for this weekend?
Status Quo's been doing good. I mean, we've been a team now. After this event, basically, it's going to be 2 years, and that's one of my huge things in the gaming community, I want to say, is the longest-lasting Halo team. It's a pretty big record that FB holds as they dominated the Halo 2 scene back in the day. And even though we haven't won as many, I mean, we've only won one event compared to how many they've won. It's really a record and a milestone I want to reach with these guys since we've already been teaming with 2 years. Besides that, we're looking good, but there's definitely a lot of good competition out there. Instinct, to me, is still the guys on top. That's the team that no one really wants to play. Definitely beatable, but definitely the team that you want to be. I hope someone knocks them out and I don't have to place them because they do have the potential just to shut you out and not even allow you to win a game. So they're a team that many people want to avoid. Based on Orlando placements, you have to look out for Dynasty as well. They came into that event without a LAN and pretty much dominated. I think they only lost maybe 5 to 8 total games the whole weekend. Formal's on that team, and he's a up-and-comer player, and he's just basically been dominating with the snipe all year long and finally made it onto a team where he was comfortable with all 3 other players, and they took the event.
Yeah,
Can I hop in if you don't mind, Jason? I was going to say,
yeah, for sure.
I do. Mike, I mean, been watching Halo, been around for a while, and Status Quo. For those of you who don't know, I don't think this should be missed. What Mike said is really a very rare thing in team shooters. This team is probably, to be honest with you, Mike, I think your team's claim to fame is the fact that you are Status Quo, that you guys have been together. It's not a name with 2 people changing, every 2 events or something like that. You are Status Quo. And you have been solid, I think is fair. If I'm going to be generous, I'm going to say you guys are obviously always near the top. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of your team, because I don't think a lot of people know what makes Status Quo Status Quo. A lot of people know the names, but I guess I want to start with everybody else has these roster changes. They go through these difficulties, and like any relationship, I am sure Status Quo has had some knockdown, drag-out fights in their time, but you guys have somehow managed to keep it all together. There are probably 1,000 players, tens of thousands of players, to be really honest, that would love to know, what are you guys doing right? How are you able to keep your team together when so many other people can't do it? What do you think is part of your secret sauce?
Definitely a main thing to our secret sauce is just having fun. This year, after we won a tournament, the fun level kind of seemed to get knocked down a bit, just because now we were like, wow, we just won an event. We had to try to stay on this grind as much as possible. And then we were actually making it more like, because this all started off as a hobby to everyone, you know what I mean? Who could say they just go to work every day and they love what they do, and that's what we were doing. And during the Halo 3 days, every day we would be able to get on and we would just have fun playing with each other. This year there's been some problems, as many people know, but it's because we all just want to win a lot more. But I think the biggest thing, like I said in the beginning, is just having fun. And me being the oldest on the team, I knew that for sponsors, because I saw MLG had like Dr. Pepper sponsors sponsoring teams, Stride sponsoring teams, and I realized as teams kept breaking up that the sponsors really weren't into that anymore. And then luckily for us, Red Bull, independent, not part of MLG at all, came out of their way and sponsored our whole team. So I knew I like to think myself as a smart person with business and everything. I know that sponsors want, a group of guys to stick together, because if they keep changing, they have to work on a new guy and they can't keep the same stuff and just have to keep doing more and more work, and that's not something they want to look into.
Mike, I can tell you as a sponsor, you're right. That's really true. And Red Bull is fortunate to have you guys because, again, you are status quo in so many ways. I know we talked about it earlier, and you just mentioned Instinct as the team to beat. And I don't think anyone is going to disagree with you. I mean, yes, they didn't win, but this team's skill is unquestionable. Let's talk, and I'm going to ask you the same question we asked Rambo earlier. Taking status quo out of the equation, what are the top two teams that you think have the best chance at winning the Nationals?
Like I said to Jason, I think it's Instinct and definitely Dynasty off their Orlando performance. From knowing about a couple of the teams' backstories and how everything's been going, I've been hearing a lot of things with Infamous, how they're not getting along with each other and they're bickering and fighting. I can only see that to see them perform worse. But, I mean, they're still a good team, and you have to watch out for them. But Dynasty and Instinct are really those two teams that you got to look out for. As Instinct this year has, in 2 events, had the best record of going like 43-1, and Dynasty coming to the last event, just steamrolling everyone.
Okay, and I want to know a little bit about you next, because I know that, Flamesword is one of those names. If anybody's followed Halo, they've seen you play, they've seen you on main stage many times, but they may not know who you are as a person. Tell us a little bit about you.
For myself, I'm a 22-year-old. This past summer, I got an associate's in information technology. It's pretty much the career path I've chosen to stick around anything computer and programming. I love video games, so I want to, in the future, get to the point where I could be part of teams and game industries where I'm actually making video games and hopefully making competitive ones that I could see played in leagues like this as I'm older. I'm a huge workout fanatic. That's really come into this year. But, I've always worked out my whole entire life, but this year's really the year where, like, if I miss a day, I hate it. I feel like a bum. I feel like I have no energy. It's like music is a passion for many people, and workout to me is music as it is to many people, and I just love going to the gym every day.
So, Mike, you're well-spoken. You're passionate about Halo. You work out. You're highly marketable. Red Bull clearly got a good deal and made a wise choice.
Thanks, man.
No problem. We asked Rambo about some of the key Halo players, and one thing that I think, we've had a little bit of history with Halo's VV Gaming. We never pick the top teams. We always pick teams that are generally at the lower end of the pro bracket, just because we like to get to know the community and meet players and things like that. And Halo, let's face facts, has gone through some amazing changes. You guys have been, for the entire existence of Major League Gaming, front and center. And 2011 is the first year that you basically are no longer front and center. Starcraft is here. 2012 is looming. There are a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot different time to be a Halo player than it was, say, just last, 2010. Talk about some of those changes, and what are you worried about for 2012, and are you fairly comfortable looking forward? What is it like to be a Halo player today?
Being a Halo player today is kind of, I'm not going to lie, frustrating. I think Bungie left us off with a game that just wasn't complete with the whole bloom. I've always felt that Halo was the game all the other shooters came looking at and try to compete with and try to take things and copy them in a sorts of way. And really with the introduction of Reach, I felt Bungie went and copied Call of Duty Battlefield with all the sprint and all the armor ability type of things, and just try to make Halo not what Halo really is, which is just a normal plain, simple first-person shooter, but somehow it caught everyone's attention and everyone loved it. Next year is I'm excited more for next year than this year, even though this tournament's huge, because it's for sure, or in my opinion, it's for sure has to go with no bloom next year as they change all the settings. And to me, just making Reach no bloom excites me to play because the bloom really frustrates me. I don't feel that it works the way that it's supposed to and the way that they set it up to work. And I think people get away with it, and it's just inconsistent. That next year is really just a lot of people are excited for it because of the no bloom.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because somebody today who's running a local tournament said bloom or no bloom, and I said no bloom because anybody who cares about the skill required to play Halo is not going to agree that bloom is good. So sorry if I offend any bloom fan out there. I just don't see it. I agree with you. No bloom is definitely the way to go. Let's talk a little bit about why, for those who don't know what the bloom no bloom debate is about, Mike, can you explain that a little bit so fans understand, one, what it is, and then two, how no bloom sort of came to be, because we sort of started with bloom. If you could give everybody a quick rundown of how that happened.
Yeah, for sure. Well, bloom, the whole thing with bloom is that the way that they set up the game was that you're supposed to pace your shots for it to actually connect with the other player that you're shooting at. A lot of people figure it out, and I mean, it's not even 100% that it works all the time, but spamming works a lot, and it's not supposed to. If you spam, bullets are supposed to fly away from the guy you're shooting at, not hitting them perfectly. And it makes really the game unfair at times because you could go back through VODs and just play back of videos where you see some players just pull the trigger as fast as possible in a situation from a long distance, short distance, or medium distance, and they kill the guy immediately with those 5 shots. But then you see them do it again, and it just doesn't happen, even though the reticle is red and it looks like it's hitting just like the last time, but it just doesn't. The whole thing with no bloom now is that if the reticle is red, the bullet's going to hit. And with the introduction of no bloom for Reach, it's bringing back bleed through damage, which with bloom right now, if you punch someone who has 20% shield, they're just going to be put to 1 shot. And if you melee someone with 5% shield, they're going to be put to 1 shot again. But with bleed through, if your melee hits 15% and the guy's shield's 5%, he's going to die, as opposed to if he has 20% shield, he's going to go down to 5%.
Mike, I'm going to restate that for everybody so they're clear. For those of you who don't play Halo, in Halo you obviously have a health bar, but you also have a shield bar. And generally, bleed through damage, if you can imagine your shield before bleed through damage, whether your shield had 1 point of shielding power or 20, there was a 0 hard stop. So you would first have to get rid of the shield and then get rid of health. Then after that, now with bleed through, it's kind of one continuum. So it chews up your shield, and whatever's left over will actually damage your health. Is that correct, Mike?
That is correct. That's the perfect definition of it right there.
Awesome. So yeah, that's the big difference. So Halo doesn't suffer from the Call of Duty problem. I think Halo is a much more spectatable game, but it is an aging title, and I think a lot of people wonder how long can Halo last. It still has a pretty vibrant community. Halo 4 is on the horizon. We have 343 Studios now going to be handling that game, and we have sort of an anniversary popping up. Not that I think that's very significant. I asked Rambo this, and I don't necessarily need to ask you this, but I'm going to anyway. Will Halo be around for 2012? Has that been told to you, pro players? No bloom. And any concerns or thoughts about Halo 4? Because that is still pretty far off, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not too sure if Halo 4 comes out next November or if in 2 Novembers. As far as MLG comes, I'm pretty sure that it'll still continue to be on the circuit next year, as we've been talked to a lot about how they're going to implement no bloom and what settings they think are going to need to be changed and tweaked, like damage modifiers and damage resistance. So as a Halo player, still confident in it to be in the league next year and competing. As for Halo 4, I'm actually kind of excited for it. 343 were the guys who really made Halo 2, and that's the game before everyone loves. You got a couple people like Halo 1 more, but Halo 2 is really the one who had that Xbox first introduction to Xbox Live, where everyone just enjoyed playing for ranks. They went into Big Team Battle, had a fun. They went into SWAT, had fun. They could play custom games and just super balance, cat and mouse, just all crazy types of custom games that everyone loved playing for Halo 2 because it was such an enjoyable game. The one thing that I have heard so far from 343 is that they're actually asking to attempt to get a trend starting to see if we really want a Halo 2 remake, that we have to get it trending somehow, because from what I've heard is that Halo 4 might just be a modification to the Reach engine.
Interesting. I've not heard that. In fact, if that is true, I'd love to see something from the developers, because I'd love to get behind that. That would be really kind of cool. And I think that a lot of Halo fans out there, I mean, there's a bit of nostalgia too. But I guess that does bring up the next question. What was your favorite version of Halo?
My favorite version was Halo 2 for sure. It was the one that got me started. It was the one that got my mom and dad opening my door at 7 in the morning. Mike, what are you still doing up? We're going to work. Get your ass to bed and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's the one that got my true gamer out there. And then realizing that there were people who make money off it just made me intrigued even more. And I was like, I got to hop on this bus.
Well, I could monopolize the conversation all night, Mike, but I know that my co-hosts here have been dying to jump in. And I'm going to turn it over to Kurt from Check 6. Kurt, it's all you.
All right, great. Mike, how you doing, bud?
Doing good.
Okay, I gotta ask that question for everyone, just because I feel like I'm a new person in the conversation or something. Good Jerry just goes on and on and on. You know, it's.
Yeah, Jerry
goes on and on and on and on.
First of all, let me make a very important point. I can go on and on and on in many avenues in my life. Two, Kurt, you do go on and talk a lot. I got to be honest. But it's all you, Kurt.
Especially when Counter-Strike's involved, am I right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Very, very funny. Very, very funny, guys. All right, so I got to ask you, Mike, just a few small questions. Number one, I suppose I'm just kind of wondering what your... I asked this to Rambo, and I want to hear your opinion as well. It looks like we're having Sundance on possibly later in the show, and I'd love to be able to provide him some feedback directly towards, what you guys would like to see as a part of the league for next year, or for next season, that is, to make your game better, whichever title it may be, whatever, settings it may be under. What are you looking for as far as to change things up and to pull, some of the crowd back over to Halo?
One of the big things, and so far 343 has already hopped on and done that with the Halo anniversary, is get maps out. Reach really doesn't have too many maps, and people are using Forge and just making a bunch of gray maps, and gray maps are just not interesting to watch. For spectators, if you had to just watch the same color gray, same shade of gray on every map, I mean, you don't even know if it's the same map or if it's a different map. It's a boring view. And with the Halo anniversary, they got 5 remakes, one including Beaver Creek from Halo 2, and I've been hearing a lot of buzz that the maps are great. So, I mean, I really can't wait until after Nationals, where I'm trying out all these maps with no bloom.
Gotcha. So you think, some different maps might really help, some of the competition? Is there anything else? Like, do you think that, because my thing is, I mean, Halo, I think, is a great game. I do like, it's not, I don't, like Jerry said, I don't think it has some of the problems that Call of Duty has. So what, is there anything else that you think might sort of bring that audience over a little bit more? Some of you in the audience from Starcraft II, I mean, you guys have a lot to capitalize on there.
I think if they were able to introduce a spectator mode of some sort where it's enjoyable to watch from an overview type of camera angle, so that, I mean, a lot of StarCraft people I like to watch StarCraft just because of the angles and how all the commentators are. I think that besides maps, besides a spectator mode, MLG really can't do too much besides ask 343 would be to implement a ranking system for Halo. Like I said before, Halo 2 is the most exciting because of the ranking system. Towards the higher levels, you would start getting moons and stuff as you're trying to get your 50, and it wasn't easy to get your 50. In Halo 3, many people had a level 50, and it was a lot easier to get it. I think if they were able to bring back a Halo 2 ranking system, it would bring all the old crowd back to it, and everyone would just enjoy hopping on because they're fighting for something each game and not just playing to get credit so they can unlock armor and stuff like that.
Sweet. All right, so I have another question. For anyone that's not familiar with me, I have the management background. I come from Check Six Gaming, so I tend to take things on a more sponsor-related questions and more management-related questions and things like that. And I'm just curious because a lot of us don't necessarily understand how the relationships with the teams and things like that and sponsors work with Halo. And a lot of people I think it's really interested with. You said that your entire team is now sponsored by Red Bull, which is absolutely amazing. They've proven that they're a big sponsor in the area, both with MLG and with other side projects as well. But I'm also curious about the fact that Status Quo itself at MLG has to wear, or not necessarily, I'm not sure if they have to, but they wear MLG jerseys, which are, of course, branded with NOS logos. How does that really affect you guys? Like, how do you prove to Red Bull, for instance, that you can continue to be very, very important to them and their brand?
That's a good question. As of right now, usually you would have to always use either your team jersey provided by MLG, and if you don't decide to use it on main stage, they'll just give you an all-black one. But the all-black one at the same time still has all those side sponsors on them and stuff. MLG has started moving towards a way, as they've seen in many other leagues, that it just allows you, other leagues allow you to showboat all your sponsors. They don't care too much for it, and they let you show off the people that are helping you get to the events and just providing anything that you need. With Red Bull, we're also sponsored by SteelSeries, so they paint out some sweet headphones, 7Hs that we have, and they're all decked out in the Red Bull colors and their brand and their logo. And then basically besides on main stage, we could use Red Bull hats in our gear anywhere else besides the main stage. So we use it everywhere else to continue intriguing Red Bull. And then there's always a bunch of group things. Red Bull is like a sponsor like no other. They get really into the players. They set up a lot of side projects like you mentioned. And they try to make as much as your name as possible as they can. Also, MLG are trying to change their jersey rules where we're actually going to be able to put Red Bull or, for example, if anyone else has a different energy drink on the jersey itself. And depending on what conclusion they come to, there should be a new jersey update and what logos or what brands could be put on the jerseys.
Gotcha. Okay, now that makes perfect sense. Now, what garnishing from what you said, it seems like if it were up to you, you would like everything to sort of be separate in the sense that you would like to be able to do whatever you would like to put the logos on the jersey and things like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I mean, in a lot of other sports, I mean, a lot of action sports, there will be certain motocross sport like tournaments, and it's like strictly held by Monster, but at the same time, Monster's not saying, hey, you Red Bull racers, you NOS racers, you Rockstar, whatever, you can't compete. They don't say stuff like that. You can't just tell the best competitors in that sport to say, hey, because this is our tournament, you just can't compete in it. And I think it's unfair. And I hope MLG changes to the way that every other league does stuff where everyone can compete no matter what.
I can hop in and say something real quick. Mike, based on talking to Sundance in Orlando, Jason was there with them, and on my conversations, I'm quite certain Sundance gets it. I mean, it's always a challenge because, there's always that question, if I'm a sponsor and I want to get my brand at MLG, sponsoring you is a lot cheaper than sponsoring the whole event. and he's got to obviously balance those two things. How does he keep event-wide sponsors while still allowing players to be sponsored? And I think he really gets that there's no way to stop players, and it's good for everybody if players get their own sponsors. I was going to ask you a question, and Kurt, I just want to hop in here because we're talking about this and made me think of something. I want you to give me and Kurt some advice, Mike. We run teams, and I don't know if you Halo guys need anything from us. It's always been a lot more sponsors in Halo than anywhere else, but what could a gaming organization offer Halo players if you were to advise them? Outside of like flight and hotel, and you guys don't even need a team pass, and a lot of you have equipment already. Is there a place for organizations like Check Six and VVV and the other organizations in competitive Halo? And if you were to advise them, what would you tell them?
First of all, I want to agree with you. I mean, I wasn't bashing on Sundance or anything. I know the whole business terms and stuff, and I know it's a struggle because you have sponsors who want their stuff to be shown more than others since they're not participating or giving anything into the league. So I totally agree with that, with everything. For an outside sponsor coming in to sponsor a Halo team, flight and hotel really are the most important. Controllers, we all have controllers already, and they're only $60. So I mean, it's not so hard to get them. And then the headsets, we all have those kind of already as well. The whole thing is just getting the player there. If you could get the player there, you could do more things with the player. You could do videos with them, photo shoots at events if you don't have time to pull them out aside and bring them to an isolated location. And you could just do more things with them. They could help grow the community, the sponsor in whichever way with Twitter and all that. And then at the same time, you guys could do the same by getting them out there more, and then just getting each other to both get out there more just allows for more people to join or be part of it.
Yeah, I think you hit on the perfect points, Jerry. Would you agree? Oh, I don't know if Jerry's here.
You're asking me that? Oh, I thought you were asking him if he agreed with me hitting on the perfect.
No, it's
no.
fine.
I think Mike said music to my ears. I agree with you. I mean, if I was sponsoring a player, I'd want somebody like Mike to sponsor in Halo because I believe he gets the. It's not about.
It's not always about. Strictly.
I don't need you to wear my shirt, is what I always tell players. Right? You're not going to get hotel and airplane because you're wearing my shirt. That's not enough for me. But what Mike points out, which is the right player's perspective, you get me to an event, I'm wearing your shirt, but you can also leverage my attendance in videos and photo shoots, me giving shout outs to the community and interviews and things like that. And I think that's the right attitude. That is what players can do and should do. So yeah, I think you did absolutely hit it on the head.
Yeah, and another point is that some teams might not necessarily need the help of an organization to find other sponsors and market your players and things like that. Like you said, Status Quo has done a great job in acquiring things like Red Bull and then Steel Series and things like that. But for other possible teams, organizations tend to offer more than just, at least the right organizations offer more than just here's your plane, here's your hotel, here's your shirt, wear it, and that's it. So I agree completely, and hopefully other Halo players do as well. My last question for you would be, coming from a team that isn't necessarily, quote unquote, owned by an organization or partnered with a bigger organization like VV, Check Six, EG, or Complexity, or anyone like that, what advice would you give players that are looking to get those sponsors, to get the sponsors like Red Bull and to get the sponsors like Steel Series, etc., other than some of the more common advice?
The best advice I can give is basically common advice. Definitely got to write proposals, get each other's contact information, and just keep bugging them really until it's an exact no. I mean, if they kind of just brush you off but don't give you an exactly a no, then just keep going at them. If you stream, give them your numbers, tell them your placements, tell them your Twitter followers, your Facebook fans, stuff like that. I do agree, though, that if a team could pick up or join a community like VVV, Complexity, EG, and all those, that's huge. Those are communities that look after their teams. They try to get things for their teams. And it's really hard or at least in the Halo department, I think, to find your own sponsor on your own time. Because, I mean, some players are putting crazy hours into the game, and it's not so easy as they stream, and they try to get videos out on their own. And I myself have always tried to get YouTube videos out and stuff, but I mean, I've come to the conclusion it's not as easy as I thought. I've had to study up a lot more on it, about all the editing, what programs I need and stuff like that. So, I mean, the only advice is that advice I gave in the beginning, which is common advice, is just write a proposal, find someone you think that would be interested in sponsoring your team in this sort of league. Energy products are the best. Obviously, as you see, Red Bull has come into it. Headset companies are great, and controller companies could be great as well now too with the Mad Cats. You never know if they want to sponsor a team, a player, or whatever like that. So I mean, it's tough, but it's a lot of work, and it's at the end of the day you just have to put in the time.
Yep, I agree completely, and it seems like you guys definitely have a great plan. Jason, off to you, bud. Got any questions?
Yeah, sure. I mean, first things first, Mike, I definitely want to thank you for taking some time out. I know that you said earlier today that, you were going to be busy practicing with your team, and I definitely want to thank you for taking the time out and joining us tonight on the show. I do want to learn a little bit more about your team and just the people that are on Status Quo. Could you tell us a little bit more about the teammates that you have and, what they do outside of gaming, and just give us a little bit more insight into who Status Quo is as the people, the people behind the team.
For sure, and glad to be on the show and anytime. And my team consists of Ace. Ace is really the smartest kid that you'll probably ever meet in the world. He goes to the University of Kentucky. He's out there. He's got a scholarship to the school. Like I said, just an extremely smart kid. Not too sure what his major is. I just know it's one of those crazy things that I would not be able to pursue in, as it takes too much time, a lot of math, a lot of physics, and just all that crazy stuff. Assault is probably our most athletic player. He's in his second year of college now, I think. And in high school, he was played bowling, baseball. Pretty sure his baseball team made it to states and made a run for it. I'm pretty sure as he continues just growing up, he's going to try to pursue joining amateur leagues and trying to see how far he can make it. He's 6'2", so I mean he could definitely be, in my opinion, a baseball player if he put in the same amount of time as he did in Halo. So whenever he stops gaming, I could see that if he pursues the baseball career like he tells us, that he can accomplish it. Enable is our youngest player. He is finishing high school. Yeah, he's just a high schooler, really. He's a funny dude. He's a great spokesperson. He's a good storyteller. That's who he is. If you ever meet him at an event and you start talking to him, he'll find some stories that you'll never believe and just tell them with such great detail that you couldn't believe it. And then our coach, Tyler Diesel, he's like our walking billboard. He's 6'8". We always horse around with him because we actually measured him, even though they say his doctor says he's 6'8", and we only got 6'6", and we always mess around with him, and he gets annoyed with us. But he's really just like the big bodyguard of our team. Like no one messes with us. You don't want to mess around with a 6'8" dude. So our team is just a bunch of clowns who just, like I said, the reason we're together still is because we just have fun.
Just what's really cool is listening to the passion that was just in your voice, talking about your teammates, and I wish that we could somehow pass this on to other teams in the Halo scene, just because if we had more teams with this sort of chemistry, that actually, it almost feels like, care about each other like a family, then we'd have more teams sticking together, and I think that would definitely...
Let's be honest. I was going to say, Jason, there was a lot of bromance language right there.
I'm saying, right?
You really do love your teammates, and I think that's awesome. I mean, that
1,000%, yes.
Mike,
that's so cool.
I guarantee you, Mike, there are tens of thousands of players who want to have that relationship with their teammates, and to be honest, I think you guys are lucky. You have a good thing going, and it's always awesome to hear about people that are doing really well. And now you sit on the sort of the close of the 2011 chapter, the last big contest, the MLG Nationals. Before Jason closes it out, I just want to say it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. I hope we can have you and maybe somebody else from your team on back after to talk about MLG Providence, because it's really been a real pleasure, Mike.
For sure. I've enjoyed the entire time meeting you guys. Hopefully you guys are all at Providence so I can meet you in person.
I know that myself and Christian Asylum will be there. Jason can't make it this time, although he's almost at every other MLG event.
Yeah.
And Kurt, you don't ever leave the house, do you? Tell the truth, Kurt. You only leave the house if there's Counter-Strike involved, right?
Hey, if there's a Counter-Strike involved, I'm there. All right, everything else, not so much.
Can you see how we pick on Kurt?
I haven't even asked. Look, we had 2 console players, and I didn't ask their opinions of Counter-Strike Go. You should be proud of me. All right, you should be proud of me.
Because they'd be like, huh? What? Go where?
Yeah, go. It really was a pleasure, though, Mike. Really, some of you Halo guys tend to confuse me, but you guys are truly, truly smart in what you're doing, and please keep it up.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, Mike, yet again, I know we're going to sound redundant at this point, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your practice schedule to join us on the Losers Bracket, and let's see if we can get you back on in the future, or one of your teammates, so we can talk about how Providence was on the ground floor, at the event. I think we could do that.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk with them. I'm pretty sure they might all actually be watching this, so I'll talk to them about it after, and then we'll see what we can get handled.
And Mike, you know what? I'm sure you've seen one before, but look for a VV shirt and come find me in between a match. I'd love to meet you guys in person. I really would.
All right, sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, have a good night, Mike. Good luck at Providence. Take good care.
Take care, Mike. Wow, 2 good interviews in a row. This has been a heck of an episode, and honestly, it feels like we're just getting started. We still have.
Oh God, I'm only 2 cocktails in. Are you kidding me?
That's why you're so open tonight. I see what it is.
I'm always open. I'm like a cheap novel.
I'm glad you said novel. I didn't know where that was going. Wow.
So, Kurt, do you want to talk about some StarCraft next? I suppose.
Nah, let's skip it. It's not like it's a big deal or anything.
You know what? I think
it's not like there's going to be 8,000 players.
FXO boss school and get some lessons on how to run a business. That's what I think you need to do.
I need to call him, man. Get those lessons.
All right, well, let's talk StarCraft, Jason. Who's our next guest?
Oh, all right. So we have actually 2 guests, believe it or not, for StarCraft. We've got one of our own players, and actually Kurt brought on one of his boys as well. So we've got our own VVV Titan, and then also Check 6, ThisIsJimmy. So 2 awesome players. Really glad to have Titan back with us. Titan, you've been here before, so I think I'm going to put you on the back burner here for a second. I want to get our new blood onto the show. Jimmy, I know that you actually were competing here during the show just a few minutes ago, so you still here with us, buddy? How are you doing tonight?
I'm here.
Awesome.
I'm very good. I played a quick clan war. I was listening to you guys the whole time. He wasn't that good, so it's pretty lucky, I guess.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out and joining us tonight. Since it is your first time on the show, like we've kind of done with the others, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. For those who are listening that might not know who ThisIsJimmy is, tell us, who is Jimmy?
I am 25. I'm from San Diego, and I've been on Check 6 Gaming since August of last year. And I've been to every single MLG so far. So, I don't know. And I've been playing StarCraft forever, since the dawn of time.
The dawn of time. The aviators have came out.
The dawn of time. That's almost as long as...
For those of you who may not know this, Jimmy has a thing for aviator sunglasses. Is that right?
Yes. I like to put them on a lot when I'm playing StarCraft. Usually I'm extremely drunk when they come on. But yeah, I don't know. They're my $5 sunglasses, and I have to wear them sometimes, just for kicks.
So those of you out there who admire somebody who plays StarCraft and aviators, ThisIsJimmy is actually the player for you.
I got to tell you a quick story about Jimmy. Jimmy, this is what he did. He puts on his sunglasses after I don't know, an hour or two of streaming. He's fairly well into a few beers, and he's streaming and he's playing ladder, and he goes into a game with this one guy. He starts it up, he gets his SCVs on everything, and then he tabs out a game, and he asks the people in chat. He types in chat, "Do you know what time it is?" And then like he goes back into game for just a few seconds, pops back out of game, and he goes, "It's time to win."
You like that, don't you? He's got a little bit of character.
And then I probably lost right after that.
I think you did, but it's
That's
okay.
probably what happened. But at least I tried.
Well, Jimmy, this is my first time getting to meet you, and you have been to a lot of MLG events. Let's talk a little bit about your record up to this point, when you did better or worse than you expected, and then how you feel about yourself going into Providence, and more so, what did you do to prepare for Providence that may have been different from the other previous MLG events?
Well, I did this year. I had, I think, 2 or 3 events where I did pretty good. I think 2 actually. I got like 26th at Anaheim, and then I got 27th at Dallas, I think. And I don't know. For Providence, I've been really busy lately, so I would say I've actually been practicing less for this one. But I don't know. I feel good. I'm not nervous at all. Like, unlike other players, I'm not playing like all day and all night because I have like a full-time job, and I don't know. I just have a lot going on right now. So that's obviously.
If you don't mind me asking, what do you do for work?
I'm a software developer for a chiropractor. So I make like chiropractic software.
Software that helps them actually conduct their practice, or billing software, or what kind of software?
Yeah, so it like manages their office, handles like scheduling and billing and a bunch of stuff like graphs and everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So I haven't practiced too much for this event, but I don't know. I'll be going in there against one of the most ridiculous open brackets ever. So there's no real pressure on me. You know, no one's like, "Oh, watch out! This is Jimmy's going to take the whole tournament." So, you know, I'll use that to my advantage, and hopefully I'll be able to sneak out some wins against, you know, some of the best players in the whole world.
Yeah, you're right. It is not a light open bracket at all. For those who may not know a lot about some of your performance in the past year, looking back, since we're coming on to the finals here, everybody has that moment in the season that, you know, really was that bright moment. What would you say was your best moment thus far in the 2011 season?
It would have to be MLG Anaheim. I mean, I went into the event a lot like I'm going into this one. I mean, I didn't really expect to do too well. The open bracket there was very good, just like this one, and I beat out Atero in the open bracket, and I got into I don't know. I was in like the 24 to 28 range, and then I lost to Liquid Tyler, and then the next day I got a chance to play against FXO Choya, and I beat him 2-1 in the constellation match. And in my mind, that was my biggest achievement, you know, because he's like a Korean pro, and yeah, so that was probably my best win and my best event so far.
That's really cool. That's an epic matchup right there. And speaking of epic matchups, Titan had a pretty epic one against White Raw at MLG Orlando that I was able to watch from a very cool vantage point, right from behind him during the match, right over his shoulder, and it was really epic to watch. Titan, want to welcome you back to the losers bracket. It's been a while since you've been on, sir. How are you doing, and how's preparation going for Providence, man?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Everything's looking pretty good. I mean, it's got a few more things to clean up, and I'm just going with the same mindset as before, you know, just one game at a time. So,
sure. Yep. That's cool. Yeah, we were just talking about, you know, MLG Orlando and you know, the entire season as a whole. Give us your opinion. You know, Jimmy was just talking about his, you know, key moment of the season. Would you say that your White Raw matchup was that for you, or Destiny, or what? You know, what match was, you know, your standout moment of the season?
Honestly, my stand-up moment of the season would be Game 2 against Check 6 Mystic, losers bracket round 4 at Orlando. And the reasoning is because I was down 0-1, and then I was about to lose Game 2 and get knocked out of the tournament. And I got so mad that I don't know if you were there watching, but I like slammed the table, like, oh, I'm not going to lose this game. And then I started playing really well. And then from there on, I won my games and then advanced to play White Raw, and it really was like a turnaround for me.
And I cried, but I was happy I was happy for Titan. But no, that was really good matches. I think that's actually on our YouTube. I think we actually ended up casting those. Those are really, really good games. You should be proud of them.
I was going to ask you, though, Titan, what did finally snap? Like, for those of you, though, who don't know Titan, a.k.a. Tristan, Tristan is not one to get angry. I mean, Tristan, to be fair, I think Tristan even hates this about himself. I think Tristan is one of the nicest guys I know. I think Tristan wouldn't hurt a fly, and, if you met him as a person, he doesn't have an outward competitive nature. He is fiercely competitive, let me make this clear. But, for you to be like that is rare. What do you think finally, what happened, Tristan? What happened that moment?
I think it just comes down to fight or flight. You get backed up against a wall, and you either fight or you just give up. And I'm not one to just give up.
And I mean, I think ever since then you've been, I don't want to say that you've been off, but I feel like you've like done weird things. Like you started sacrificing deer and drinking their blood and being up at odd hours and playing Koreans in strange places. And I expect you to like come out as some kind of bizarre witch doctor at Providence that nobody really recognizes. I just want to know what your preparations have been like, because let's face facts, you've been, I don't know, something was different post Orlando for you, I think.
Yeah, man, I was drinking the blood of deer too. Yeah, that was really good. But I mean, for post Orlando, I've just been one of the teammates, Vivi Glon, was telling me I need to practice on Korean stuff again because the North American ladder is kind of bad. I think Jimmy might agree with me on this. It's all cheesy and just no good practice there. But on Korea, you don't know the people you're playing because you really can't read Hangul. Some people can't, so you don't know who you're playing. And you got to approach every matchup kind of like MLG in the fact that you don't know what your opponent's capable of, and you just have to play completely safe and then push the late game and then win. So, my regiment's been practicing that. VV practice every Sunday, Monday night, practicing with Ruff. He's cheesing me like a little bastard, like always. Fuck him. Same with Hasu and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Wait, same with Hasu. Hasu's far less cheesy than El Rufter, though.
Oh, no, he's not. No.
You're saying Hasu was taking a page out of Ruff's book.
Oh, yeah. No, Hasu's like 2-base Forge Fast Expand build. Am I allowed to swear on this show?
Have you seen this show?
Have you ever listened to one of Jerry's rants?
Fuck him, man. He comes to me with like this +1 Zealot and Stargate play, and it just drives me nuts every game. And he cuts like 50 probes and rough style all the way.
You know what, though? I'm going to be honest. And this is really the truth. I'm a huge, huge advocate for those of you who don't know. I'm a big fan of cheese. I think it's an awesome tool to train players because not everyone can cheese. And I really mean this. Not everyone can cheese. It may not seem evident, but when what is, to me, the highly frustrating thing about when Ruff does what the Ruff does, when you're very good at microing the way Ruff is, right? And again, let me make a small caveat here. We are talking about early game cheese, so we are talking about limited units, right? Like if you're in a large macro game, there's another level of micro that is even more telling of a player's skill. I get that for all of you anti-cheese haters, but I got to tell you, from a spectator's point of view, Ruff is really fun to watch. Even you, Titan, have to admit sometimes you watch Ruff and you have to chuckle because he's on your team.
Oh, hell yeah. He's the most fun person to watch. He has, such unique stuff. He's awesome.
Ruff is one of those guys who will actually not just cheese because he's out of options. He will cheese as the option. He will strat.
Yeah, right.
He will strat the cheese. He will think, what beforehand. Here's what I'm gonna do. It's really funny, and there are other people like that. But Ruff is a prime example.
No, we were playing that one Wednesday night StarCraft where Ruff it was such a moment where he was playing a Protoss player and he realized, wait a minute, you know what? I can pull my SCVs and the way he did it, it was just a simple math problem to him. And he went in there and everyone's kind of like, you always do this when you watch Ruff. You kind of cock your head like that confused puppy and you're like, really? Why? Right? And then, we get the privilege that Wednesday Night Starcraft, he gets done, he comes back. Ruff, what were you thinking? And he's got it all figured out. That's the part of him that you're absolutely right about, Kurt. He doesn't cheese. It's like some math problem cheese to him. Right? Well, if you look, he had mostly gateway units, and it was primarily stalkers. And if you look at the number of shots that it was going to take, it actually was going to take one more. And you're like, how do you do that, Ruff? Really? How do you do that? And that makes him, I think, both interesting to watch because you rarely get to see it compared to a lot of the Korean style play and macro heavy play you see, and then also because he does it with such passion. He loves to catch his opponent off guard and do things that they don't expect. So
he also really loves to make people angry, so that helps too.
You know what though? It's funny you mentioned that. Knowing Ruff as a person, I don't think that's true. I think he's had to live with it. The only thing that I would say, and Tristan just said it in our chat here for those who aren't watching, is that Ruff does like to troll. So I'm going to turn that over to you, Tristan. Let's talk about the man under the bridge, Ruff the troll. Talk to me, Tristan.
Yeah. He never GGs in practice games. He loses. And he'll just keep picking at you the whole time. And he'll just laugh about it all the time. Like, you mad, bro? You mad, bro? How about this all in? I'm coming for you. And then he'll just fuck with people's minds and stuff. It's really, really fun watching the reaction. I know that everybody at MLG just doesn't even talk to him. They just hate him with all their being. No joke. I'm serious. Nobody will talk to him.
I think it's a great thing. Jimmy,
I think Ruff and players like Jimmy and many of the other players that we all have on the team are prime examples of what MLG main stage is missing. To me.
I think you're right. And I know Jason didn't want to talk, but I was going to bring Jimmy in. Jimmy, two things real quick. One, what's your opinion of Ruff? And please be honest. Two, talk about a little bit about your own play style, because a lot of the fans may not necessarily know your play style. So let's talk about that.
I think Ruff is really excellent. I mean, its cheeses are the most frustrating thing you'll ever play against, because you play against Ruff and he'll do strategies you've never seen before, even on ladder, and then you're just like, oh, all right, so I guess I have to scout the left corner of the base now when I'm on Zelnaga. So you just have to play a different way, and then you play Ruff again, because I'll get matched with him on ladder again, and then you plan for this crazy cheese, and then he plays a completely different way, and it's just so frustrating. And you can't really practice against that. I mean, unless he's your teammate, you're not going to find someone else who plays just like him.
And it looks like the teammates aren't getting too much of a heads up to it either.
To be honest with you, sometimes we'll play a team and we'll do really well, and we might 4-0 the other team, and then so to keep our Wednesday Night Starcraft live, we'll do show matches. And I've seen moments where Ruff playing Hasu, and Hasu literally gets beat. He leaves the game, no GG, and then he'll just type something in the mumble chat, and then we won't see him all night. He'll be like, bunker rush, seriously? And that's it. You hear him all night. Right? And it's one of those moments where you're like, but it's Ruff. I mean, if somebody accepts who they are and that's who they are, it's really hard to pick on them, I think.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Jerry.
Other than Idra.
Oh, my God. No, there was one Wednesday Night StarCraft where it was the same one you were mentioning earlier, where Ruff had that game where we were all cocking our heads to the side like little confused puppies because he pulled SCVs and somehow came back from this large food deficit to win, and it just seemed completely ridiculous. His opponent had a gold base. His opponent was so far ahead in resources, and off of one base he somehow managed to win. And afterwards, he played this great, for spectators at least, show match versus Hasu, where he did the most ridiculous bunker rush. And after this long, drawn-out game where he, somehow managed to come from this large deficit to win, he knocks out Hasu within the first 5 minutes, and Hasu was just like, oh God, no, we've got to play this again. That's not how this is going to end. And it was just this wonderful moment for us as like spectators to see Ruff do this ridiculous cheese that frankly we need more people to do, because we are missing this in the main stage scene for MLG. I don't know. I'm hoping that we do get some more of that within the next season, but I digress. Let's turn this back over to Tristan and Jimmy and talk a little bit more about Providence. Kurt, let's turn it back over to you, buddy.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy, you never really finished your conversation because I completely interrupted you. But you were talking. Jerry had asked about your type of play style that people might not are familiar with. Whether that be the what I call the Jimmy patent pending Reaper bunker or whatever. Your choice. Just tell us a little bit about your play style.
Yeah, so most of my stuff is pretty original. I like to make Reapers in almost every matchup, actually, opening up with them. Usually, like, that's my standard build. And then I'll usually expand off of that and try to play, like, I don't know, kind of a two-base kind of game, usually. But yeah, I mean, I guess I have a somewhat unique style because you don't see too many turns opening Reapers against, like, every matchup, so...
I don't know if I've ever seen anywhere else the Great Wall of Jimmy.
Yeah, it's true.
The Great Wall of Jimmy is Jimmy will wall off with pure supply depot across the entire map. He'll have two bases and a line of supply depots. It's the most hilarious thing.
It's just like second nature now, so I don't even remember. But I've actually started building depot walls with 2 depots thick. So when Zerg tries to break you with like 4 Banelings to get through, they can't because you have so many buildings in just this stupid wall where there's just like 2 depots across the whole whatever map it is. But so yeah, I guess that's kind of unique too. And I think everyone's going to start doing that, by the way, making 2 depot walls.
I suppose that you don't have to worry about getting supply capped in that situation, huh?
Usually no. But, yeah, and I mean, also, you don't have to worry about getting counterattacked by Zergs, because that'll drive you insane. So, that's why I do it.
All right, so...
I was going to say, hold on, speaking of getting counterattacked by Zergs, I was going to get Tristan in on this, because, Tristan, I've always felt, and this is something that's always interested me, and we should actually, I could ask this to you too, Jimmy, just because, again, I'm not a StarCraft player anywhere near your level. And... I think to myself, no matter what, Zerg to me always holds a unique perspective on the battlefield. There are so many things about being a Zerg player, both being one and then playing against one, that are different. I'm going to start with you, Tristan, and then I want to get your input too, Jimmy. Tristan, would you agree with that statement? And for those who may not know a lot, you Zerg types are a unique animal. I mean, Idra commands the personality space of the Zerg, but there are many top Zerg players. I want to talk about what it is a little bit to be a Zerg player. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Tristan.
Lots of crying, sadness, and tears. That's it.
If we want to make him cry, let's mention ZVP right now. Go.
No kidding. ZVP's tough right now, but I mean, only gateway builds are actually really tough. The Forge Expand builds are pretty easy, but it's hard to figure out when they're going to push out. And with Warp Prism play, it's pretty tough. Especially Mothership, man. It's such a bullshit unit.
Wow. Well, they're going bye-bye, so you don't have to worry.
I know, thank God. Oh, one thing about Jimmy. When you said the depot wall, that reminds me a lot about Brood War. People used to make pushes, and then they make, like, turrets and... supply depots next to the tanks, so when they engage, they have to run through depots and stuff. I've been waiting for people to actually start doing that, because adding positional advantage on the battlefield is crucial. You got Marine tank, and there's no way Banelings are going to hit you if you can add that positional. So that's really good, man.
Yeah, I've been waiting for more people to do that too, just building like bunkers and turrets all along the push. But I think someone's got to start just really getting ridiculous with it and getting like 6 SCVs and just building like some kind of wall, just getting some kind of timing where they can just build like 6 buildings, make a huge wall, and then they're just trapped. Like there's just nothing that Zerg can do. I mean, just because you have this dumb position with like a 6 building wall. So
yep.
I'm gonna work on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the one I hate the most, I don't know if you've ever tried it, where you have the ramp, right? So you have the barracks in the top ramp, and then you put 2 depots there to wall, and then you put 3 depots on the bottom, so you like let lings in through the bottom ramp, and then you shut the depots, so they're kind of trapped in there type thing. And so you could like do like a triple layer if you wanted and just keep making wall, 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 wall. So you're like unable to be counterattacked, and then your Marines just pick off everything. It's so good. There's so many possibilities for StarCraft right now for the Terran race, in my opinion. I'm still trying to figure out Zerg, but your units, man, they can do so much. You know, there's so much room to grow still.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and the thing with something like that, it's like kind of deceptive because you can stop the Zerg from seeing all the layers of wall, and then they're like, oh, I'll just break this with 4 banelings, and then they break it, and then they're into the next area where they're still walled off. So it's just like I agree. I think Terran, you know, they have a lot of possibilities to do weird shit, and where Zerg, I don't know. I mean, they have burrow, but they just don't have as many tools, I guess, to do crazy things. I mean, besides just macro and build 70 drones by like 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we have like I think 1 spellcaster, so outside the Queen. I mean, if the Queens are mobile, that would be cool. Reminds me of like TLO when he did like Queen rushes back in beta, and he'd walk them all over to the base and just start transfusing them and killing your pylons. And they need to bring stuff like that back, where Queens can actually move and transfuse on the battlefield. That'd be tight.
Yep.
You know, this is what I love. I love to hear StarCraft players talk about the game that they love because you guys have a unique passion and a unique perspective that I think none of us have. I mean, I know I don't. Not at that speed. Not, you know, and when you say something, and this is actually what makes StarCraft so fun to watch. It's, and I don't know, Kurt, Jason, everybody else, I don't know if you have the same experience, but I wouldn't come up with it, but as soon as they say it, I understand it. Does that make sense?
It does, actually, yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what I think is StarCraft's magic to me, like, which makes it so fun to spectate, and why I think the synergy between the audience, the players, and like when you have a Day 9 or, you know, you've got Husky or you've got DJ Wheat, as soon as they say it or as soon as a comment's made about something, you can get it, right? Because to be honest, nowhere does my, you know, when I talk to somebody about StarCraft, I sort of say there's a rock, scissors, paper to build and counter build to really reduce it to its basic element. And I say, you know, I may not be as fast as a lot of other people knowing what, you know, the rock to the scissor is going to be, or the scissor to the paper. But when you listen to top StarCraft players, they're moving at that complete speed where they're telling you, you know, here's the situation. And then, you know, all of a sudden one goes, you know, and then rock and then scissor and then paper and then rock and then scissor and paper. And there's sort of like this entire discussion about, you know, what best counters, whatever situation they're in. And as soon as you hear it, you either A, knew it, you just didn't pull it up as quickly, or B, you're like, wow, that makes really a lot of sense. That's my experience. And I'm curious, Kurt and Jason, maybe, do you guys have that same experience?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I do have a very, very similar experience. I mean, which can tend to be a problem from time to time, because another thing with StarCraft players is that they defend their race like none other. Like,
that's true too, yeah.
It's amazing. On Inside the Game today, I watched Inside the Game with DJ Wheat, my guy Pain User, In Control, and Idra, and you know, they have a nice synergy there because they have, you know, one of each race, and then of course DJ Wheat, who's a Zerg fanboy. But and it's really amazing just hearing them talk about, you know, all the Protoss buffs, and you know, and then, you know, In Control will be like, but you know. And then, you know, they'll bitch about Banshees. They all hate Banshees. And then Pain User will go, but, you know, and then they make it all sound just perfect. Like you said, they explain everything perfectly well. But then they're also explaining their opinion sometimes. So it tends to confuse me. You know, I'll think something's OP, but then someone else will say, no, not really. And then he'll give me his explanation. So, you know, I think it's amazing the fact that there's so many StarCraft players that have almost this built-in caster in them. That's like we can explain.
No, that's
things
true. That's a really good way of saying it. There are. I really agree with you. There is almost a built-in caster in StarCraft players, and that even makes me think of, and kind of bring me to the next things I want to ask about, which is, and I'm going to start with you, Jim, if you don't mind. I mean, you mentioned earlier, you work full time. Is that right? You work full time, right?
Yep, that's right.
And
8 to 5.
So an 8 to 5 guy. Then you come home and you play StarCraft. Do you have a goal? What's your goal? What do you want to do? And I get the number one, like that stock answer, but I don't always believe that. And I don't make me critique you on that one. Like, avoid saying I want to be number one unless you really want to defend it. Why do you do this?
So that's a good question. I actually have a very real goal. I like to keep it like short term and not think like, oh, I'll be the best in the world. Like, because that's like so far off if I ever really wanted to do that. But what I really wanted to do was get on stage at MLG on the main stage and play a match, I guess. And like, that's it. I just want to get on there. Like, if I lose, whatever, but in order to get on the stage, you've got to go through, however many incredible players. And yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to get on the main stage at MLG. Simple.
Simple.
Now we know.
And that's the thing. You would think that would be, well, I wouldn't say you would think it would be an easy goal, but you would think it would be a little more, attainable than, something like number one. But it's absolutely amazing. And just as a quick note on that, I want people to realize that, we're watching the show or watch the show later on, that there are other players in StarCraft other than the ones that appear on main stage. There are amazing players like Titan, amazing players like Jimmy, amazing players like Ruff, and like Sickness, and all the other ones we have in Check 6. That I think would really bring something to the main stage and to the stream if MLG is willing to take a chance on it. To me, I mean, I can't imagine seeing Jimmy up there in his Check 6 jersey and his aviators. That would be absolutely hilarious, and I think people would really enjoy that. Same way with Ruff doing cheese on main stage, or Titan with slamming his keyboard if he loses one. These are all things that I think people really miss, and that they would love to see. So anyway, support these quote unquote underground players, guys. You won't regret it.
Also, another point to that, I think that really to blame is the MLG format right now is it just doesn't really allow for new faces. I think, and that's kind of the big flaw, I guess. And I mean, if they get rid of that format, they might make an argument like, oh, the spectators won't want to watch or something. But the way StarCraft II is, and I think it's different for StarCraft II than other games, is that there's so many good games going on now with the competition at where it is, that there's no way that they're not going to be able to find an entertaining game in every round if they switch the format to not have pool play or they jumble everyone up. Like, they'll definitely find good games at any moment during the whole tournament. So I think that's something that can really be put to blame for not seeing new people all year.
Yeah, and I want to ask your opinion on this, Titan, as well, but I want to say something real quick. I completely agree, and I want to, the thing is if players say, not players, I'm sorry, if spectators say, we're not going to watch a game that doesn't have the two quote unquote best players in the world, if we don't, we're not going to watch a game that's not between someone like Idra and Huck or Idra and MC or something like that, then you're not really a fan of the game, you're a fan of the players. I've said that since day one. To me, there are so many amazing games out there from players that aren't necessarily the number one players in North America, and you can really support your community and your game just by watching these players like this. So, tighten your opinion, but on that the open bracket, and for that matter, the pool play and things like that.
Well, obviously, it's a horrible system. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to allow the same players to always be on the main stage. There's got to be kind of like Code S is now. There's actually new people getting in Code S, like Leenock now. He's in a round of 8, and he was, Code A, I believe, a little bit ago. They got to have a way for players to move up and replace the players that aren't doing so well. But because of the point system and how it is, there's no way to replace those players unless you are actually, Huck good or something, You've got to be that good.
Yeah, and I think, if you hear from what they're saying, I think that they're going to try to resolve the problem of players staying in the open bracket. I mean, not in the open bracket, excuse me, in the championship bracket, in the pool play bracket. I think they're going to resolve a thing like that, but I think, to be honest, it needs to go a little bit step farther, in any way possible. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the one that knows answered all the questions, but I think there need to try to go even a step farther than that. I would like to see, at least. So.
Yeah, I mean, my position on something like that is just, I'm the player, the system sucks, it's their job to fix it, so fix it. Pretty much just like the balance of the game, It's their job to fix balance, fix it. Thanks, that's it.
You've been around Jerry for too long. That was amazing. That was...
I know, he's slowly gotten into my brain, and he's moving his fingers and moving me like a puppet, and I dance, And
whoa, who is this?
Nope, no one. I don't know who you're talking about.
Who's the puppet master? So I know what we're talking about.
No puppet master. Don't worry.
No puppet master. No, it's a scary Halloween movie, isn't it?
From Full Moon Video, to be honest. So yes.
Wow, you actually knew.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, no kidding.
Why is it? Oh, I mentioned the Montreal Canadiens, right? Sports team, and then I go to some obscure horror film company called Full Moon Video, and no matter what, I get nerd.
That sounds like a porno. Not gonna lie.
Exactly.
I want you all to know that Tristan is one of the dirtiest-minded players you will ever meet.
This is so true.
Yep.
It really is. Rachel, who is known as Vivi Foxy Moxie, is a dirty, dirty girl, and Tristan makes her look like Mother Teresa. It's horrible.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe not that. Maybe there is no Mother Teresa in that, but that's true. I do. On a very serious note, I really do want to talk about other things too, but I want to get back to something about us talking about the experience of open players, because there is this locked-in group that a lot of the attention focuses on. And Jimmy, I'm glad you started this out. And I'm going to start with Titan, because we're here, and I want to get your input on this, Jimmy. Titan, you made a decision to play Starcraft at this level, and you've gone to every MLG event, the same thing that Jimmy has done. And in a way, you do watch players who I believe both of you are better than, in some ways have better exposure, and you said it sucks. What does it do to your perspective on the game? Do you say, this in some ways motivates me because one day it will change and one day it'll be there? Does it discourage you a lot? Do you even care about more people seeing you play? Because I really don't believe everybody plays to have a large fan base. Some play for other reasons. So I'm going to start with you, Titan. What are some of the thoughts that go through your head?
Honestly, it's kind of a simple answer. I've been thinking about this a lot ever since living in Orlando and stuff like that. But I mean, the players who get known, great for them. They work for it. They got it. Even if they had an easy bracket, they still got the exposure. They won their games, and that's all that it comes down to. If you don't win, then you don't deserve it. So that's that. That's my take on it. I mean, it's a simple answer, but that's it.
Okay, Jimmy, what about you?
I don't know. I think it's discouraging, I guess. Just because if you're not in the group, it's just a huge wall that you're gonna have to climb. And yeah, I mean, you don't have an opportunity to get into pool play until next year or whatever, or whenever they change it. But so yeah, I think it's discouraging mostly. It's kind of a letdown. I mean, if I'm going into an event, an MLG event, and I have to play through the open bracket, I mean, that's going to just affect my attitude going in. I mean, I know I'm not – the odds of me getting top 8 from not being in pool play are almost zero, really. So, I mean, that's kind of a downer. But that's just the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing. Like, the thing with me is not necessarily just the MLG thing. I'm not just blaming MLG here. I'm blaming partially the community. I mean, the community could do a lot to uprise some of these quote unquote more unknown players, but it's not. I would like to see MLG do something too. For that matter, IPL, NASL, and anyone else worth mentioning. But I think the community has a spot to blame as well. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a North American player that has really ventured into the top spotlight like someone like In Control or someone like even Spanishiwa, who's not necessarily known for his best play, but his stream. I would venture someone to find someone that's actually done that lately. Actually, just came out and broke out in the scene. It's very, very, very hard to do, and the community makes it that way. So.
Well, I don't want to say it like this too, but somebody could say to us, "Oh, we're whining, right? That you're not a Huck or you're not there." And for those of you who may say that, I think you're missing that there are great stories to be told. And part of what we do, and I know what we do in VV Gaming is that I would never sponsor an IDRA. I wouldn't sponsor an established player. It's not my model. It's not what we do in VV Gaming. Not because that isn't important and critical to esports like EG and Complexity and Jack 6 and everybody else. That's important. We do something slightly different. And, in many ways we're lucky because we still have amazing players. But I say it like this, that I think the real tragedy is that there are less players for fans to connect with. And I think that's going to be an important challenge moving forward. We know to some degree, we know some of the top players, but we don't know all the players who have actually embarked on this great journey, which I think for most players is a great journey. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, Jimmy, there are a lot of things you could do with your off time, and you spend it all here. Do you ever feel you're making sacrifices, and do you get frustrated, or this is where you want to be, and it's very easy for you? How would you say that experience is for you?
Well, I would say, lately that's certainly not true. I don't spend all my time, playing. I've been spending a lot of time not playing, actually, because of, it's just that you get to a point and you just kind of have to do other things and keep Starcraft II, as a hobby. I think that's where I'm really at. I think Starcraft II is a hobby for me right now, and just the way things have gone. I'm not a Huck level player. I'm not, making enough for it to be my only thing to do. So it's just not going to be all I do. And I think a lot of players probably take that path. If you're not on a top team, you're going to have to basically do it part-time and then somehow overcome these players who are playing full-time. And that's just a big wall, I guess. And I guess that's why for some people they'll never get to the top level of being able to compete with Huck or being able to compete with the Koreans. And I don't know how to fix that, but that's just the way it is. And especially for me, that's how it is right now.
Okay. What about you, Titan?
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
No, the question. You're right. But the original question was really about. Maybe I'm going to actually modify the original question, listening to how he answered it. But what is it like to kind of be in your position, because you are kind of all in a way, and there's a sort of a wall, a mountain, things you have to climb yet. Talk a little bit about what that's like. Is this something you've already said, you know what? It doesn't matter. You mentioned earlier about getting a job. What is the reality of what you have to balance?
Well, the reality is you have to win. You have to win the big game when it counts, and all it takes is one time. And then when that shot comes and you don't get it, like I had my shot against White Rock because he ended up beating everybody else in the championship bracket. Had I beaten him, probably would have won. But it sucks. You get that one shot, and if you don't do it, that's it. There's nothing more to it than that. And it just really gets on you mentally, and then you just start to question yourself. So. And
how did you pull out of questioning yourself? What did you have to go through to to bounce back from that?
Really, a lot of it was disappointing in myself because after the first game, I knew I was probably going to win the series because, like, I felt like, oh, okay, I got it styled down, I'm going to win the games. But, I mean, to pull myself out of losing after feeling so confident, it took, I think, a week or two, to really, like, I was motivated to play, but I wasn't, like, motivated to, I don't know, try everything that I could. I know, play, but not just, like, go, 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 I'm almost there, I'm almost there. It's just frustrating when you lose something big. That's it. I don't know how to say it other than that. I think the words speak for themselves, though.
So you feel like you blew an opportunity, to be honest.
Pretty much, yeah.
And now, if you look at going into Providence, how does Providence differ from your situation in Orlando, and what are you going to do with that?
I mean, I went into the final day of MLG, I'm not going to lie, the day I lost, just like as a whatever mode. Like, I'm just going to play, whatever happens, happens. And, I ended up playing well. So I'm going to do the same thing this time, and just one game at a time. I'm not going to think about the whole series in general until I get to Game 2, until I get to Game 3, and change my strategies. But one game at a time, and just go in knowing that I'm prepared. I'm more prepared than last time, which is really, really freaking good. So I'm really excited about that. But, yeah, just one game at a time. That's it.
Great. Yeah, I've got one last question for you both, and it's was talking a little bit about the fact that Jerry mentioned being potentially demotivated a little bit, with the fact that you guys had with the, like you were talking about with that struggle. Team Liquid recently unfeatured a bunch of players, a bunch of quote unquote smaller players, all the organizational Team Liquid channels, as well as I believe Jimmy Stream and Titan. I'm not sure if you were streaming or not, or if that was on the VVV stream. But either way, it was defeatured. What's your guys' opinion on that? I mean, I know you guys probably don't exactly like it, but like how does that potentially demotivate you to not only play but to stream and all that? I suppose I didn't say who goes first. Jimmy, you first. But.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when they did that, it felt like a big stab in the back. Basically, I mean, I've been around the community, Team Liquid, since I don't even know, like 2003-ish. I don't know, playing Brood War forever. So I've always been around, and I don't know. It seems so pointless. I don't know why they would do that, but yeah, I mean, it's annoying and certainly is demotivating, I guess. But I'm lucky enough to have gotten a good following already, so it's not like people are not going to find my stream, or I'll still have people interested in hanging out and watching me play and talking. And I should also mention, I think having a stream and having people watch you and give you advice or tell you that you're bad, like that's a big motivation to play more right there. So I think, yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks that they unfeatured so many people, and they're kind of just making it, they're making it even harder for, players who don't play full time to improve and, make a name for themselves.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And Titan, what's your opinion, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same thing. Like, I was featured too, and then I got unfeatured, and that really pissed me off because I was, running about 300 viewers, somewhere like in the 200, 300 range constantly. And then if I streamed at night, it'd be like 350 or something like that because they get all the Europeans. And, it wasn't like I wasn't giving out a great product or anything because I was commentating on my stream. People were really learning the game, and it was actually helping them, telling them why I was doing it. And it's just like, really? Is this not what Team Liquid wants? Wouldn't they want people to learn more about the game and to get more into the game, to get better, to get more an attachment to the game? It's just like saying, well, this person's sponsored, he's a Korean, so fuck you. And that was pretty much it. So, and yeah, and like you said, the lesser players are just getting trampled upon, and yet again, we have no coverage of us. Nobody knows about our teams, nobody knows about who we are, how we play, anything about us, even though we can take games off the top players, and that's extremely frustrating. No news, no coverage, no streams. That's it. We're dead. with pretty much the only way up is through the open bracket, and we all know that that's fucking ridiculous. So, yeah, we're pretty much screwed, and that's what I think about it.
Yeah, Tristan, absolutely amazing response. I mean, for the most part, I couldn't agree more. It's to me, Team Liquid, how they can say they are the source of the StarCraft community and that they're for the community, and then constantly trample on the community that supports them is way, way beyond me. But I know Jerry's going to be continually working to get them to change their mind and to unfeature back to feature you, and I'm definitely going to be doing it with them with Jimmy. And hopefully you two continue to prove to them that they were wrong in doing it in the first place. Jimmy, I mean, I know you get still quite a few viewers on the stream that are just dedicated to your stream, and just continue to do so. And same goes for you, Tristan. Back to you, Jerry.
Yeah, this is one of those times where I almost feel like I want to rant, and I have to be very careful about what I say because, yeah, maybe I will say this. Maybe I should. Maybe it's time. I've thought this a long time, and I've never really wanted to say it, but maybe I should. Okay, so I will not make a lot of friends after this, but I
don't know if it's the best idea, Jerry, but good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I keep thinking about, there's always a price to honesty,
Yeah.
There's always a price to tell people what you think, but and maybe I'll find a middle ground here as I'm quickly firing off the possibilities of what I want to say. So maybe this message is a Team Liquid. Maybe it's something, and maybe it's not just a Team Liquid. Maybe it's to everybody. Unlike a lot of people in esports, this is not my job. I don't need esports. I'm passionate about gaming, but to be honest, not like DJ Wheat, not like Alex Garfield, not like Kurt, not like a lot of people who do this. Duty and responsibility comes easy to me. I can do almost anything. So I'd be lying if I told you that I'm the poster boy for passion for esports. But I'm the poster boy of something else, though, I think. And that is that everything is about the future. It's about the next person. It's about what comes next. And I could care less if VV Gaming stream got, defeatured. As a matter of fact, don't fucking bother to feature us again, to be honest. I don't need the revenue. I mean, I've never done this needing the revenue. I'm not in a position that I need that money. I mean, our business model is funded. I fund it. And I'm not rich, but I also don't spend a lot of money that I can't get back. I don't have the model that build it and they will come. I have a model that we pick the kind of talent we believe is highly marketable and provides real value to our partners, who in return offer those players products, and hopefully we help get them exposed. But I guess I get baffled very rarely. And when Team Liquid did that, part of me slumped. Part of me thought, you're so short-sighted, right? They could afford to get away with that in this Starcraft II bubble. And it is a bubble. If you don't think it's a bubble, you're an idiot. I mean, even FXO Boss, who is pretty much a tool, gets it's a bubble. So if you don't know it's a bubble, you're an asshole too. But it's a bubble, and it'll burst the same way the Counter-Strike bubble bursts, the same way any bubble bursts. But we need Jimmys, we need Titans, we need players, even Ruff. And when I say even Ruff, I mean you all know him for cheese, but Ruff loves StarCraft. And he loves telling people what he thinks. I mean, you don't really believe that Ruff cheeses people because he jerks off at night because he got you pissed off. He loves cheesing because he beat you at a very important part of the game, and that's on player expectation. He beat your expectation, and he won. And yeah, it's frustrating, but he did. And he loves that. And we need players like that. The same way we need Idras. I don't agree with the bad boy image of Idra. It'd more be like fucking annoying punk you want to fucking punch in the face, Idra. Bad boy's reserved for sex, drugs, and rock and roll in my eyes, but yeah, call him what you want. But there is a place for Idra. I would defend that irreverent prick because you need a personality like that. Or the soft-spoken Huck. or in control. And I mentioned 3EG players there. I could go on and talk about the more obvious ones, Boxer and a lot of the Korean players. But at the end of the day, if this is going to work, we really need people to look at Titans and Jimmys, because you're closer to them than you are to Huck. You're closer to them than you are to Boxer. They're the ones who are just a little bit farther than you, and probably the ones you can learn the most from. So do I think what Team Liquid did was short-sighted? Yeah, it was just plain stupid. It's dumb in that way that pisses me off. It pisses me off that I, for some reason or another, love the kind of challenge that is developing esports. And I feel that what Team Liquid did was very short-sighted. But, they say dare not argue with Team Liquid. They'll ban you, they'll do things. You know what? I really could care less. Everybody knows this. I never have to worry. Nobody pays my bills, right? Kim Rom doesn't pay me money. SteelSeries has really great products. You may not, if you don't believe that, that's your choice. But he's not paying my bills. MLG doesn't pay my bills. Nobody pays VV Gaming's bills. The one thing I like about being VVV is we get to tell you exactly what we think, and we're not beholden to anybody, nor are we here because we need, Alex Garfield to like us. And don't get me wrong, I like Alex Garfield. He does amazing things for esports. But I don't need him to like me. Nor do I need Kurt to like me or Jason Lake to like me. But all of the people I mentioned have done incredible things for their players. I would never say that Jason Lake is not an important part of esports. I would never say that Alex Garfield or Sir Scoots or the team at EG are not important parts of esports. And that goes to Fnatic and Dignitas and SK Gaming, and the list goes on. They've all earned their position here. But when Team Liquid, who has also done a lot of good things, makes a choice like this, it's because they're young in my eyes. They're inexperienced. They don't get what this is all about. Trust me, I promise you, being like EG would be way easier than being VVV Gaming. But I like the challenge. My staff may not like it on certain days. My managers may not like it on certain days. But we take the high ground and we stick to the vision. Team Liquid, and to those of you who are listening and can influence Team Liquid, reinstate those streams, please. Don't reinstate VV Gaming stream. Don't. I'm not doing it for us. Titan and Jimmy and players like that, they're more important than I think you get. Because this bubble's going to burst, and when it does, you're going to reinstate their streams anyway. So don't be stupid. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'll throw it back at you, Kurt.
Amen. That was one of the passive-aggressive Jerry rants, but I like it. I think it was amicable, and I think it's 100% true. Just, as a final note on the stream thing, and I think we're going to get, sort of wrapping things up and maybe talk a little bit more about Providence. But, yeah, I mean, the thing with the streams is you guys, even if Team Liquid is not going to listen, you guys can do something on your own. People in the community can do things on their own. Add them as a favorite. Make them a fan thread for people that don't already have it. Become a fan if they already have a fan thread. Post in their stream chat. Talk to them on Twitter. Add their organization on Twitter. Everything. There's all kinds of things you can do personally if you want to support these players and support the community that doesn't necessarily have a voice right now, or at least isn't being listened to. So, yeah, that's it, guys. So, all right, Jerry, I think we want to do just a quick talk about Providence. Is that right?
Well, I mean, I think at this point, to give you all an update, because some people asked me about Sundance, as of 10:10, 11:10 Eastern, still on train caught on the locals. So he's on his way back home. As soon as he gets home, we're going to get him on. So Sundance is incoming. Just be patient.
Losers bracket going late tonight. All right.
Pull out. Listen, if you want to talk esports tonight, you're interested, tweet about it, tell people about it. We're going to have Sundance on. He's going to be tired. It's going to be late. I'm tired. Kurt's tired. We're all tired. But you know what? We're going to keep talking. I do have to tonight, before Sundance comes on, talk about some big news in the Gears of War community. Huge news, actually. Something that's a game changer that you're all going to want to hear about if you don't already know. If you're a Gears player, we're going to talk about that. But yes, Kurt, I do want to talk about Orlando, and I do want to talk about organizations like Check 6 and VVV, and I want to talk about our players. And I'm going to start with you, Jimmy, because hopefully I'm going to cover all these in one really important question. Yeah, Providence, right? So here we go. Jimmy, what's it like to be where you're at as a player? What's good, what's bad? What is it about being in Check 6 that's good or bad? Well, actually, the bad isn't important. I mean, you are where you are and being where you're at. And, you come into Providence saying, you know what, I haven't practiced a lot. I haven't practiced as much. This is kind of a hobby. What do you hope to accomplish in Providence?
Well, I mean, Providence, I'm looking to have an excellent time. I think I can't have my expectations too high to get like top 8 or something crazy, but I definitely feel like I can beat anyone, in any game. And I want to get on the main stage, of course. That would be my ultimate goal. So I'm gonna, try my best. I mean, I say like, I haven't practiced that much, but I'm sure in the next, few days I'm going to be playing a lot. And when the time comes at the LAN, I think some of the advantages I have, I've been playing at LANs for, a very long time. I don't get nervous at all. I can play when I'm extremely tired. Things like travel won't affect me. So I always look at things like that, and I put them in my mindset. So, if I'm playing against a Korean player, if I'm playing against someone who's, better than me or someone who should beat me, at least I have some kind of advantage, or I think I have some kind of advantage. So, I'm going to be confident either way. And, I think that's the advantages I have. I'm not going to get nervous, and, I'm going to bring my best. So, that's where I'm at.
All right. And what about you, Titan?
I really don't have any goals in place, really. I mean, sure, deep down, I want to win, make the main stage with all that stuff. But I think if I go in with no goals and just play the best I can, that's all I should really ask for. And I know that my play is good enough to make main stage. Should I play like I should?
And is that a psychological tool for you, that it's better not to think that way because of your own experiences, or?
Yeah, it really is, because I don't want to set up too high expectations, be in the middle of the game, start losing, and then start thinking, no, I don't, and get angry and stuff. So just take it one game at a time. Just keep winning until I lose. That's it.
Titan, Jimmy, thank you so much both for being on the show. Tristan, I will see you in a few days. And I guess I'll see you too, Jimmy. So hopefully you'll come by, and if you don't see me per se, grab somebody in a VV shirt. I would love to meet you. And if I'm not going to be cheering on somebody from VVV, I promise you I'll be cheering on somebody from Check 6 Gaming. So I want to wish you both the very best, and good luck at MLG Providence.
Sweet. Thanks so much for having me on, and I'll be sure to find you when I get there. So I'll see you guys soon.
All right, guys. I'd give you both a shout-out, but we are already going to shout out everybody you shout out anyway. But if there's anybody outside of our sponsors of Steel Series and Thermal Take and the organizations, is anybody else you guys want to give a shout-out to? Mom, Dad, Paradise for being so nice, whatever it may be.
Shout out to my parents, who are probably... No, probably not, but my mom might be listening, so shout out to her. And shout out to my buddy Sean, who's an idiot, but it was his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday.
All right, Tristan, what about you?
Just a shout out to Ruff, because he wanted to be on Losers Bracket. I don't know if you knew. He should have asked you. So, shout out to Ruff. Love you, baby.
Ruff, my friend, if I only knew. Ruff didn't like Skype, though, so if he had asked me, I wouldn't have let him on anyway. That would have been my first-time punishment for him giving me a hard time, because when we first asked him to come on a loser's bracket, he was like, I didn't like Skype. So I was like, all right, fine.
I remember that. That was,
Yeah?
I remember walking, just, coming into the Mumble channel being like, hey, Ruff, you want to come on a loser bracket sometime? I don't like Skype. Well, we're just going to talk about, I don't want to talk about me. What? He's changed a little bit since then, but...
well, he's grown up. He's grown up. It's good. All right. Sundance is on his way home. I want to cover Gears of War, and we also want to cover League of Legends. I want to talk about that, too.
Oh, yeah.
I know, Jason, we have Asylum here, obviously. Christian, how you been? You've been awfully quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been quiet. I'm kind of tired. Had a long day working on stuff for VVV's new site and other things. As a lot of people know, I am moving next week out to the Chicago area, so I've been getting my affairs in order for that. And it's been a little stressful and a little frustrating, but I'm doing pretty well.
Actually, moving is one of the highest things on the stress level. If you look at life-changing events, moving is always stressful, so that's pretty understandable. But rumor has it Chicago's not a bad place to live. So let's talk about League of Legends. There was a qualifier. We had MLG coughing up a bill to bring some players out. What do people need to look for when it comes to MLG Providence? Who got invited? What was the qualifier? And what teams are going to be there?
All right. So the qualifier was a 32-team bracket. There was a lot of excellent, solid teams out there. But the top four of the people that you guys will see this weekend are, of course, Epic, Team Solo Mid, Team Dignitas, and a newcomer, actually, Reflex Gaming. They've been around for a while, and I've scrimmed against them, played against them a few times with VVV's team. And they're actually an extremely solid team, and I'm glad to see them come in. But we'll go more into why right now they're in there. Actually, CLG was the original fourth-place qualifier, but they actually used a ringer in their game against Reflex to actually make it to MLG Providence. And there was a little controversy behind that. They got disqualified, now Reflex is coming in. But the CLG, honestly, I've got to give mad props to them because they're not making a big issue about this. They used Lapaka from Absolute Legends, formerly from Team Curse, because their backup had actually fallen asleep at his keyboard and they were going to get DQ'd anyway, so they played. They got caught. They got DQ'd. They're not making a big rant about it. But I know Kurt wants to say something about this, so I'm gonna give it up to him for a second.
Yeah. Now hold on. Now this is a little bit old news, so I'm sorry. I promise I'm going to keep it short. But this is ridiculous. Okay, because I have to mention it. CLG, TSM, all the pros as well as the community were ready. Other than Hotshot GG, let me say that real quick. We're ready to, flat out lynch Jat and the Dignitas guys, as well as Odie, who had nothing to do with it during this whole WCG controversy, all because he just played in 2 qualifiers, which is something that WCG deemed to be legal. Okay, and that's it. And now CLG actually cheats by having a ringer on that is nowhere near on their team, and the community is just like, no big deal. That's ridiculous. Who makes these decisions? I would love to speak to someone who makes the decisions in League of Legends that we're going to rant and we're going to talk about lynching and talk about, they created a saying about Jat. I think it was Jat douchebag or Jat. What was it, Asylum? Do you remember Jat? I don't know.
There's a million things that people have called Jat over this whole situation. And you know what? Screw them. If the community is going to be fucking assholes like that, then let them be the fucking assholes like that. I don't care. You know what? It is what you make of it. And you know what? Yeah, CLG cheated. They got caught. Big deal. We're going to move on. No big deal. And if they're going to make us think about Jat playing in 2 qualifiers, which is actually legal, let the nerds be nerds.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm glad there wasn't this huge stink about CLG. I'd like to say that because they're a great team. They did something wrong. They know it. They accept the consequences, and that's it. But I just had to point out the fact that Dignitas got absolute shit, and CLG just gets off scot-free. So anyway, to mention about the qualifiers, though, I do think it's amazing that we see Reflex Gaming in there, who I don't really know that well. I'm sure you know a lot more about them than me. And you see, great teams like Epic. You see TSM. What was the third team? Curse? No, Dignitas. So where's Curse at in all this? How did they perform?
They did well. I believe they finished top 8. Maybe they did finish top 8. They lost to, I believe it was Epic to come in. No, sorry, they lost to Solo Mid to come in, if I remember that correctly. It was, there were good matches. There were really, really good matches. I know VVV's own, we lost to a picture of a goose who, we lost to Epic, who then beat Picture of a Goose, another really solid team who's had really strong showings, but never could quite get there. And, it's people like, Reflex Gaming, Picture of a Goose, VVV. They're kind of like the Titans and the Jimmies of, League of Legends. They're one of those up-and-coming teams who, still have really great games, but just don't quite get up to that level. And, I understand why there's only going to be 4 teams at MLG, because it costs a lot of money to fly, 5 people for one single team out. But, I think it's going to be a real good showing. If I'm going to have to say anything, I'm going to have to say either Dignitas or Epic is going to take this one. What do you think about it, Kurt?
I'm going to go with Epic, because I like being the rebel.
I just said Epic. You just agreed with me. How does that make you the rebel?
You said TSM or Epic. That's safe. Saying TSM is fairly safe. Or not TSM. You said Dignitas. Excuse me. Dignitas is a safe fucking choice, and you know it.
I swear to God, the problem with Kurt is that he's from the South, which makes him want to be the rebel, but then he's also the Democrat, which makes him want to be reasonable. That's his problem.
Oh, Jerry brings politics into it. I love it.
But what do you think? What do you think Dignitas is the safe choice, Kurt? They've only won one major event.
Yeah, they've been demolishing everything lately. They have been demolishing everything lately. What did they win? They won WCG. Despite all the controversy, they won. They won. They won a bit. They won. What did they place at IPL? Second? Is that right? Or was it first?
First.
What did they place at IEM?
I want to say 4th.
No, it wasn't 4th, was it?
They didn't finish.
Right, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now you turn me off completely.
But anyways, back to Providence.
No. Hold on. I would like to say, number one.
No.
Okay, my choice is Epic, which is not a team that most people would choose. Okay, Dignitas or TSM are the people they're rooting for. But I would like to say I do really want to see that grudge match. I cannot wait to see TSM and Epic play against each other. Although if it were up to me, TSM wouldn't even be invited to MLG.
I want to see TSM versus Dignitas after Reginald threw that stink about Jet. I want to see that match and see their reactions afterwards.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing, man. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be some crazy sort of grudge matches there going on, so it's going to be nuts. I don't even know. If Dignitas wins...
You're right. You don't even know. That was the truest thing you said all night, Kurt. You just don't know.
But anyways, to recap real quick, Epic, TSM, Dignitas, and Reflex at Providence is going to be great matches, double elimination and best of 3s. And you guys are going to have to tune in. It is going to be epic. I want to talk about Gears, Jerry.
Look at that, Kurt. He cut you right off there. He was like, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about those things.
He knew it was going to happen.
Jason, can we bring our console manager in, Kevin, and we'll talk about all these things?
Yeah, for sure. Do we have Kevin available? Kevin, are you here?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, wow, Kevin. Good to have you, sir. Welcome to the Losers Bracket. Just so you guys know, this is Kevin, who is our new console manager from VVV Gaming. So we have some big Gears of War news. There's actually going to be this title update coming out. Can you tell us what's so big about this so that we can get the big news out into the world?
This is huge news. Tonight, only, about 4 hours ago,
Flack on the Epic forums posted that there will be a new title update that will be launched 2 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. The biggest feature that this title update is going to include is a spectator mode, which will be added to private versus matches for broadcasting by gaming leagues. One player on each team will be able to choose a spectator mode, and it will be run in 4v4 setups.
Well, I want to throw in here that, let's see, I guess to you, Kurt, you've been doing Counter-Strike for a long time. And to me, I've been doing Gears of War a long time. And this has been 5 years. And I can say it's about time. And this changes everything. If you're a VV hater, you're going to hate me 20, 30 times more now than you ever have before. Because this has been the one thing that we have been most waiting for, and I plan on capitalizing this in a way that I hope will hopefully fundamentally change the way Gears of War is played, and hopefully fundamentally contribute to the way we grow the Gears of War community.
Yeah.
For us, this is probably the first big step in the right direction. What Kevin so importantly mentioned before, this title update 2 is absolutely focused on something that, and for those of you who don't know, 7:43 p.m. is when this was launched. It's a critical moment in what's going on, and this puts the final touches on what Major League Gaming needed to make this front and center. So we are partnering with Beyond Gaming, and we're going to do something really special where we're going to use the Beyond Gaming stream and the VV forums to create an event. And we're going to have Aaron on from Beyond Gaming at some point, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how we're going to leverage Beyond Gaming's technology, as well as using our credentials in the Gears of War community to do something really special. So I'm hoping that Check 6 and EG and Complexity and all the other organizations start to take a serious look at Gears of War. It's a phenomenal community with great personalities, and I've already contracted my players who can't steal them. So I encourage you to go ahead and take a look and see what it has to offer, because I suspect that Gears of War will be one of the most important console titles in 2012. So, Kevin, back to you. What does this mean for you as a console manager?
Well, this means that we're going to have the opportunity, when we decide to launch online events, we're going to have the opportunity to stream flawlessly. Because when I was speaking with you last week about this, we were trying to come up with a system that would allow us to spectate online matches. And, we had come up with the option of killing off one player from a team of 5 to serve as a spectator on each team. And this news has come out at the perfect time, and it's going to allow us to flawlessly spectate matches. So our online events are going to run in a much more efficient manner.
Kurt, back to you. No, Kurt?
No, Kurt.
Actually, I'm really being shitty because he just said he was leaving.
He just said.
I really wanted to pick on him.
Oh.
No, but seriously, the Gears of War community, I think everything changes tomorrow. You don't know it yet, but it is going to change. And this allows us to do some really exciting things with our partners. And more so, it gets us to really leverage our stream in a way that we haven't before. We've already got, I think, 1.5 million views on our VV Gaming main stream channel. And we want to take that 1.5 million views and we want to use it for something really important. And, I'm hoping that a lot of people that are Gears of War fans will start to take quite seriously the challenge that we have before us, which now involves finding the right casters, having the right production value, doing some steady things around it. So from VV Gaming's perspective, I mentioned the Beyond Gaming partnership. We have another partnership lined up for this with RandomNade. So we're going to be actually producing 2 shows surrounding Gears of War. So I think if you are a pro Gears player, there's going to be opportunities for you. If you are a up-and-coming Gears player, there's going to be opportunities to get recognized. And if you are a Gears player who wants to learn and develop, there's going to be opportunities for you. So this has been the news that we at VV Gaming have been waiting for. So it's a really exciting time. And now that we have the opportunity, Kevin, and you are our new console manager, and sorry to everybody else, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I began really following eSports. Oh, it was probably last year. I'd played Gears of War casually, pretty much since its release, but I never really got into the competitive side of it. And then last year, I actually picked up a copy of Street Fighter IV, and I really got interested in the fighting game scene. So I went out, I bought a fight stick, the whole 9 yards, began practicing. Actually got into Mortal Kombat earlier this year and decided to begin going to events. And right around that time is when I joined the VVV forums. Speaking with you, you'd reached out to me, said you'd be great for staff. From there, I joined staff. What was it? Not many weeks ago. You reached out to me last week and said, I'd really like you to be in position for console manager. I said I really, I don't have too much of a background in Gears of War, but I'm going to do my best, and now this is where I'm at.
Well, I have nothing but high and demanding expectations of you, so hopefully I will work you until you bleed and quit. I mean, welcome. That's really what I mean.
I think what he meant to say was bleed and die, but...
I know. I just got a tweet from Sundance, and I'm going to read it verbatim because he's that kind of guy. He said, "Sorry, Jerry, phone died, got to my car, realized I don't have my keys. I'm at Walgreens waiting for a taxi and charging my phone. Might be 30 to 40 minutes before. I know it's late. Rain check for next week. Really hope I left my keys on my desk." So Sundance forgot his keys, so we are not going to wait for Sundance because I never have to worry about him lying. I mean, hell, he tweeted that he wanted to be on the show, so it's no reason to doubt him. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in great detail. So, Jason, let's wrap up the show since we don't have Sundance, and let's get this done so people can get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, apologies to all the people that were looking forward to Sundance being on the show. I see people in the shout box, in the chat channel, on the stream, with the sad faces and the nose. But hey, if Sundance said he'll be here next week, we know he's a man of his word. So let's look forward to that, because we'll have a lot to talk about yet again. And we've got a huge event coming up this weekend. I think we've definitely killed the record right now, I think, for the longest losers bracket episode. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. Master Touch in the chat just said this was false advertising and he's going to sue. Thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And yet again, our apologies, but can we fault MLG Sundance for...
No, he said apologize to the listeners for me. I just got another, after I said, sounds good, we'll cancel, no worries. He said, apologize to the listeners for me. And I will tweet back to him that we just did. So, again, things happen. And let's face facts. It is Sundance Giovanni, so we can wait for him till next week.
Yeah, most definitely. But as always, I do want to thank everybody that was on the show tonight. Man, we had such a packed show, so many guests. Rambo, Call of Duty player, thank you so much. Good luck to Icons Extravagant this weekend in Providence as well. Flamesword from Status Quo, good luck to your team as well. We look forward to seeing how you do this weekend. Both Titan and ThisIsJimmy, awesome StarCraft players. We were very glad to have you on such amazing StarCraft discussion. Best of luck to you guys. And then Kevin as well. Hey, thank you for hopping on last minute to talk about this title update, because this is some huge news. Kevin, before you head out, did you want to have give any shout-outs?
Well, I want to give a shout-out to VV Gaming. Jerry, thanks for bringing me on staff. I'm not going to let you down. I have a few friends I want to shout out. Caleb, Cody, they're out there listening. And Taylor, they know who they are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin, for stopping by. And this is where we will part ways for the night, sir. Thank you so much. and also actually to everybody listening right now. I think this is where we are going to part ways as well. This is the end of our 90-second show. So thanks as always to the VVV Gaming sponsor, SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, Control Freak, and also a huge thank you to Power Glove for supplying all the music you hear each week on our show. A huge thank you to the entire competitive gaming community. Your feedback and support is what keeps us going. Additionally, while we are talking about it, I actually want to do something a little bit differently this week. As we had mentioned earlier, a lot of the VV Gaming family is going to be up in Providence this weekend for MLG, and I am not going to be able to make it, which is a little bit sad to me. So I want to hear as many stories as possible from this event. I actually am going to run a little bit of a contest. I want anybody that goes or even tunes in, I want to hear your stories. The best story about MLG, either from watching it, like with people, something happens, or the best stories from the event itself, I will give you a prize. 3 months of Xbox Live for free to the best story. When you want to submit your entry, just email it to me. It's paradise@vvv-gaming.com. Once again, email me your best MLG Providence story, either from watching the stream or from an actual person at the event. Paradise@vvv-gaming.com. The best story will be read verbatim on the show next week, and I will give you a code for 3 months of Xbox Live for free. So there's some incentive. Enjoy MLG Providence, and I want to hear about it because I am really sad that I will not be able to join you all in person. Once again, thank you to the entire competitive gaming community. Be sure to stop by our podcast homepage. The website is vvvgaming.podbean.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes. All right? It's just VVV Gaming. Check us out. You can email any feedback you have to the show at the losers bracket at vvv-gaming.com. You can also follow us over on Twitter. We are simply known as Losers Bracket. Once again, I'd like to see these stories, so make sure you email them to me, paradise@vvv-gaming.com. Let's turn it over to the co-hosts, get some shout-outs going before we wrap things up. Christian, let's start with you.
Well, first off, of course, want to give a shout-out to, of course, you guys, the listeners, namely Rocket Biscuit, T-Rod. You guys are awesome. Love having you guys on every week. It's always a blast seeing you guys in chat. Chillax, and I know I took Kurt's thunder again, as he's always the one who's supposed to do that, but you know what? Screw him. You guys rep with me, so I'm going to say, hey, thank you guys. I also want to rep out to everybody who's going to be at MLG this weekend. Looking forward to meeting you guys. Maybe partying it up a little bit. Who knows? We'll have a blast. It is Providence. There's not much to do out there, so there's all kinds of trouble we can get in, of course. And again, thanks again for Jerry, Jason, Kurt. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys, even though I don't really talk a whole lot. But, it's always a good time, and I'm thankful each and every week that I get to come out here. And thanks again to Kevin Motz, or VVV Esoteric, for coming on last minute to give us that awesome Gears of War news. Kurt, you got anybody else you want to shout out?
Always. Yeah, you did take my thunder a little bit, but I'll forgive you because I do want to thank also Arcane in the chat. Is another one that I feel like deserves a little shout-out. Stay here through all the entire thing. As well as Adabisi, who's a fairly popular StarCraft II caster who's been here 2 weeks in a row now and doesn't just stick around for StarCraft II. I want to shout out to him and say that he's a very important part of the community in the sense that he doesn't just care about StarCraft II, it seems. So, also shout out to the people at Check 6 that I usually do, Zach, Rob, Evan, Ben, everyone over there that's keeping us together. I do want to shout out the Check 6 sponsors for Jimmy. I want to shout out to Thermal Take, TT eSports, and Pure Trek. And yeah, that's about it. Over to you, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to have Kevin, our new console manager, on. I'm going to say this to everybody. He's going to be our best console manager ever. No pressure to Kevin, but rarely do I interview somebody with that kind of potential. So I'm really confident in position for what we need to do 2012. I needed to bring on just the right person. And Kevin is that person. So I rarely give out that kind of shout out to my staff, but he fits the bill. And I think a lot of you I'm looking forward to seeing in Providence. I mean, this is the last time I'm going to see any of you this year, so I look forward to it. Obviously, there's going to be a huge turnout from the VV community, and Good luck to Sundance in finding his keys. Hopefully they're on his desk where he thinks they are. I know what that's like. And a shout out to my co-hosts. Thank you as always, gentlemen. I know I yell at you a lot, but know that it's because I really like yelling. I mean, what can I say? So have a good night, everybody.
All right, everybody. Enjoy Providence. I'm going to miss you guys. All right, come up, say hi to the VV Gaming family. You'll see a lot of VV Gaming shirts there, so definitely go up, say hi. And as I was saying before, make sure you email me your stories, whether you're there at the event or just watching. Whatever your MLG story is, email it to me, paradise@vv-gaming.com. Best stories will be read verbatim, and the top story will win 3 months of Xbox Live for free on me. All right, guys, enjoy MLG, and we will see you here next week, same time, same place, hopefully joined by Sundance and Giovanni. Until then, have a great night, take care, and we'll see you soon.